What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Happy Wednesday. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. A big thanks for tuning in. However you're tuning in, if it's on those radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, online, sportstalk1051.com. You're streaming it over there. You got the video streams also rolling, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram. Got the Alexa device. Just say, yo, Alexa, play WAYY. But a happy Wednesday. Brewers, baby. 11 in a row. 14-0 last night against Paul Skeens and the Pirates. 14-0. Now, obviously, not all 14 runs were against Paul Skeens, but they gave Paul Skeens his 9th loss of the season. His ERA is now over a 2. Still pretty darn good, but he entered the game under a 2 ERA. But the Brewers getting him out of the game early, too. Excuse me, 4 innings pitched for Paul Skeens. Game got started off with a Sal Frelick leadoff home run. It's the summer of Salvatore Frelick continuing. And you had home runs from Yelich, getting closer to that 30 mark. Yelich up to 23 in the season. You had Bryce Terang with another home run, for crying out loud. This dude is just showing off his power now. Andrew Vaughn, King Vaughn out there with another home run, 13th of the season. Caleb Durbin adding a home run in the 8th inning, for crying out loud. Brewers had a total of 15 hits. The only starter to not get a hit was Isaac Collins, but he still got an RBI. So Frelick, a couple hits, scoring 3 runs. Contreras with a couple hits. Yelich with 3 hits. Ortiz at the bottom of the lineup, collecting 3 hits too. You get a hit, he gets a hit, we all get a hit there. So offense just raking last night. Freddie Peralta picking up his 14th win on the season to lead the majors in wins, going 6 innings. Not bad for a Freddie Peralta game either, going 6 innings and only throwing 89 pitches. Gave up just 3 hits. And, of course, no earned runs. 7 Ks and 1 walk issued. Anderson, Ashby, and then you throw out a position player, Siegler, at the end of the game. So only 4 total hits, one of them given up by Siegler in that final inning. But man, are we going to get that dozen? Are we going to get that win streak up to a dozen later today, with Brandon Woodruff on the mound for the Brewers? Mitch Keller's going for the Pirates. Could we get burgers? Are we going to get them? Well, we're not, because we're not in Milwaukee unless you're going to go down there to grab yourself some. Hey, bring me back one too. So, but boy, this team just continues to just elevate their game and continues to grow in confidence and such, and continues to throw out some of these ridiculous stats and numbers. Sarah Langs throwing out there, the Brewers are just the 13th team with multiple win streaks of at least 11 games in a season since 1900. And they're the first National League team to do so since the Cubs did it in 1935. Blue Jays did it in 2015. And then you got to go all the way back to 1954. Cleveland did it. I mean, a majority of these teams that are on this list from Sarah Langs, you got to go 1903, 1904, 1906, 1906, 1909, 1916, 1926, 1927, 1931, 1935, 1954. 2015, and then now, the 2025 Milwaukee Brewers. And speaking of Toronto, thank you, Toronto. Last night too, making that division lead just a little bit harder. So Toronto picking up a 5-1 victory over the Cubs last night. Maybe Sal Frelick kind of said it best last night after the game, just going some of his comments and such, and he just talked about their brand of baseball, saying, quote, "Our brand of baseball is different than everybody else's, but it works, and we love playing that brand. Every guy we get loves playing that brand, and it's why it's so cool when you see guys like Lockridge or Vaughner come in here and just embrace it. You've got veterans like Yelly, who's an MVP, hits 40 homers earlier in his career, and he'll bunt a guy over if it's a tough matchup or find a way with 2 strikes to just put the ball on the plate to get a run across. That's what we take pride in. And that's what we'll always take pride in first, more than trying to hit homers or trying to be flashy. Well, they were kind of flashy last night with the home runs. Frelick went on to say, "It's fun. I think a lot of guys in this room, and it's a credit to the front office and Murph and Ricky, they understand the type of player it takes to play in this offense and on this team. It's guys who take pride in base running and defense and pitching. It's the little things more than the numbers you see on the board when a player goes to the plate. Guys don't care if they go 0 for 4 and we win 10-0. Guys don't care if they go 3 for 3 and we lose. When we lose, that's just not who this team is, and it's really fun to be a part of." I think he summed it up perfectly. He summed it up absolutely perfect. Freddie Peralta, after picking up his 14th win, I don't even know how to describe it, he said. It's something crazy. Some moments that we've been really enjoying. We've been together in all of this. You're talking 75 wins now. 75 and 44. 75 and 44. Your Milwaukee Brewers, 119 games into this season. Can they get up to 76 wins in game 120 later this afternoon? Lots of Brewers talk coming at you here this morning as they continue to roll. They continue to roll. There was something, too, that it was on Sunday Night Baseball. I was watching a little bit of it, Cardinals and Cubs. And they had the Cardinals presidents, I think it was his president or GM, on the telecast here a little bit. And obviously talking about the Cardinal season and the downs and such and trade deadline and such. And he made a note to talk about Milwaukee. He mentioned Milwaukee and how the Brewers were, what they were doing this year. And he kind of said, we got to get back to kind of building our team and building our foundation like the Brewers are doing. How the Brewers are doing, building that farm, bringing up guys through that way, making smart decisions, maybe in free agency and player acquisition and such, but really building their foundation. And he made a note to mention how the Brewers are doing this, how they're kind of building their team and how they've done it, and look what the fruits of the labor have kind of transpired so far. So, I mean, is it possible, depending, we'll see how the season ends and such, but can more teams be following, when it's all said and done, a Brewers model a little bit? I think there's probably still some naysayers or still maybe some doubters are going to wait to see when the postseason comes around. There's going to be, and I get it, and I understand it, but there's going to be those that maybe don't fully buy into the Brewers' way of doing things and roster construction and building teams until they see it in October, until they see it, in the postseason, have success in October and have success in the postseason. So we'll recap again last night's W, look ahead to this afternoon's game and their quest to go for another series sweep and 12 wins in a row. Yesterday, Brian Gutekunst chatting a little bit with the media, and he revealed that Jordan Love had, at that point was, but now has had surgery on his left thumb. So we were talking about something yesterday to kind of maybe monitor, because reporters who were at practice, the closed practice the other day, noted that he was talking to trainers and head coach after the practice, and his thumb was wrapped up and such, and ultimately undergoing surgery yesterday, but doesn't seem to be anything major. Gutekunst saying, quote, "We'll get him back in plenty of time. I don't foresee this affecting him long-term at all. In fact, there's a possibility that Jordan Love could be back at practice next week." So it is on his non-throwing hand, which I think is a positive as such. And we'll definitely talk to Dr. Crow about this a little bit later on this week. But Dr. Crow did go out on Twitter and responded to one of my tweets asking, I need a Dr. Crow analysis on this. And he said his guess is it's a UCL of the thumb MCP joint. If so, bet he's getting an internal brace procedure. It'll need some protection after surgery, but should do well long term. So definitely you don't want any of your players, especially your starting quarterback, to be injured, hurt in the preseason. And it sounds like it happened on the last play in that preseason game against the Jets, last play for Jordan Love, where he got hit and sacked and such. But I guess if there was an injury to happen, doesn't seem to be too serious. It's on his non-throwing hand and could be back to practice as early as next week, but should, from all accounts, should be ready to go week 1 against the Detroit Lions, and that's the big thing. So Matt LaFleur also said yesterday, from what I've been understanding, that it's a pretty relatively quick recovery, so hopefully we'll be able to get him back out in some capacity sometime next week to work on and work through, because I've never personally dealt with a situation like this, so there's going to be some learning curve along the way in terms of how we adapt and how we adjust. So, but Packers had a little bit of a practice yesterday. Malik Willis taking the QB number 1 reps. They've got Colts coming up for preseason game number 2, and going to be doing some joint practices with the Colts, or a joint practice with the Colts coming up here too. So we'll throw a little green and gold chat in here as well. We got stock reports, whose stock is up, whose stock is down. Send me your picks, all right? Text it to me on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Comment on the video streams, hit me up on the socials, whatever's easier for you this morning. So, but we got to give the honors to the Milwaukee Brewers. That's what we're going to be hitting up on the leadoff here this morning. Brew Crew picking up another win, 11 in a row. 11 in a row. I mean, I feel like we're kind of a broken record talking about the Brewers and talking about what they've been doing, and just the way they're going about it and how they're winning these games. And I mean, I feel like we're talking about the same thing almost every morning or every other day in that. But I mean, for crying out loud, they're kind of doing something historic here a little bit. They're surpassing anybody's expectations. They just keep proving people wrong, and maybe even proving people right now at this point who are on that bandwagon. I mean, I feel like I can't speak for anybody outside of Brewers fandom, but I kind of feel like, if you're a fan of another team that's maybe not in the postseason or not going to be in the postseason and such, and you're going to hitch your wagon to a team when it comes to the postseason, I feel like the Brewers are a team that is going to get, people rallying behind, getting them excited. Obviously, if you're not a Dodgers fan or a Phillies fan or a Cubs fan and such, but I feel like the Brewers are an easy team to root for if you're not a Brewers team, or you're looking for somebody to kind of hitch your wagon to when it gets to, late September, early October, and postseason and such. But what else could we say right now about this Brewers team that hasn't already been said? What else could we say? We're running out of words. We're running out of phrases here. But it's still dang fun, man. Holy moly. I mean, when Salvatore hit that leadoff home run last night against Skeens, and I was like, oh boy, are we going to do this again? And sure enough, we did. And now, can we get to 12? Can we get the hamburgers? Can we get the burgers? Let's talk some Brew Crew to open up things here this morning, all right? Lead off coming up. Brewers fans, I want to hear from you, all right? I don't care. Just hit me up with a text. Let's get the excitement going. We'll be back. When it comes to fresh quality meats, my first stop is always Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Their brats, snack sticks, steaks, you can taste the difference in every single bite. And with deer season coming up, yeah, dudes and dudettes. It's next month already for bow season. Mike's always does professional venison processing, so you know your hard-earned harvest will taste the best. Great cuts, great service, and hometown pride. That's Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Stop on in today and see why locals have trusted them for years. Can you believe it? Bow season beginning in a month. Man. Speaking of which, we got the return of Tailgate Outdoors coming up this Saturday from Whitetail Partners. Tim Kaiser is going to be back on answering your questions. So last call right now. If you have any questions for Tim to help you for your upcoming bow season or for deer season, preparing, food plots, stay on location, whatever the case may be, Tim is wanting to help answer some questions. So hit me up with a text. Last call right now, 715-830-1912 if you have any questions for Tim Kaiser from Whitetail Partners. Couple texts to open up things here this morning. Brandon's mom chiming in here. We've got B's mom here. What a great time to be a Brewers fan. Who said we need power? We have the terrific twos in Terang and Yelly. Oh my God, can you believe it? Keep it going. Our Brewers and your pal Sal isn't so bad either. Have a great day all. Surveyor says, I'll say it again. By the way, got the late text last night from Surveyor. Thanks for that text. Nate, the great, wanted me to share this with you, cleaning the ski boat while enjoying some man cave light. We'll say it again, Surveyor says, if you were to go back in time and tell any Brewers fan that come August, and not only will you be in first place in the division, but first place in the National League, best record in the majors, and playing possibly the greatest baseball that a Brewers fan has ever seen. Not only would you be laughed at, but some people might call the loony bin to come pick you up because you would sound crazy. It's the power of the pocket pancake. Power of the pocket pancake. I mean, thinking about that, and I don't know how this season's going to finish. I mean, obviously, we're hoping that it's going to finish with a World Series title. I mean, then that would probably be number one for every Brewers fan. I mean, come on, the first title, no other season would top it if it ends up in a World Series title. But you talk about enjoying the moment, right? Embracing the moment. And I'm reminded, if you're an Office fan, remember the series finales, Andy from The Office, that quote, Andy Bernard, the good times quote. I wish there was a way to know when you were in the good old days before you actually left them. And I love that quote, and it kind of fits for a lot, but throw it into a Brewer situation right now, enjoying the moment, embracing this team and this feeling and such. And I go through my memory banks of certain years of Brewers fandom and just some of the best years, not just in terms of like results, but the most entertaining, the most fun seasons I've had as a Brewers fan. And again, I don't know how this one's going to end up. I don't know how this one's going to finish, but I think it's very clear at this moment in time, the arrow is trending towards being number one. I go back to 2008, the CC Sabathia trade and acquiring CC and the push to finally get into postseason for somebody of my age, in my generation, to finally experience Brewers playoff baseball. And Brandon and myself have always it was just kind of like that relief to finally get there. I still remember watching it in my college house. When the Brewers clinched that final game that CC pitched. I remember 2008, the first year of Rodgers starting for the Packers. It was that poo-poo of a year because it was a 6-10 Packers team coming off of a NFC Championship game. You had the whole summer of Favre drama. And you had this Packers team that just kept blowing leads in the fourth quarter and losing these games, and they ended up being 6-10. But you had this Brewers team that was kind of making up for it. Like, holy moly, they're actually going to make the postseason for crying out loud. I know it was early fall, but still. That was one of the most fun years I had as a Brewers fan. It was just kind of like, oh, finally, we got a little taste of playoffs. And then obviously 2011 with that year, the final push for Prince Fielder. You know, I still remember where I was at when I found out, oh, they got Zach Greinke? Holy cow. I was working in Wisconsin Rapids at the time. You know, a couple of years post-college in that. It's like, oh, wow, okay, we're going full bore. And it was a fun year. You know, Braun, a little juiced up. But one MVP. You had the 1-2 punch with him and Fielder. You had Greinke, you had Yo-Yo on the mound. Even Chris Narveson, Randy Wolf thrown into the starting rotation too. It's a fun season. Loved being at Game 5. I thought for sure we were going to the World Series after beating the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals beating the top-seeded Phillies. Home field advantage. Fell short, especially when you win Game 1 of the NLCS too, and it's like, then, of course, you throw 18 in there. You know, what was that? What was the big excitement beforehand? Oh, my God, we got Christian Yelich and Locaine in the same night. Not today, Locaine, MVP, Christian Yelich. I think we all remember that run in September to finish off the season. Game 163 against the Cubs to not only win the division, but get the top seed. Going to Game 7 against the Dodgers in the NLCS. Good times. And this one's going to be right up there, too. Last year was fun, too. Right? Kind of a little bit of an unexpected, but this one, just kind of, can we say, dominant Milwaukee Brewers? A dominant Milwaukee Brewers team? I think that word fits them. There's not a lot of things that the Brewers don't do well. There's just not a lot of things that they don't do well. If you want to nitpick it and say, well, they still need to hit up a bunch of home runs, whatever. I saw this number yesterday. This was actually retweeted by John Heyman, Codify Baseball. Starting this, so Codify Baseball posted this yesterday. Starting pitcher wins blown by their bullpen. Starting pitcher wins blown by the bullpen. The team that has done it the fewest, just twice, the Brewers. Twice. Arizona and the Angels have 18. Okay. Cubs are on there with 8s with the Dodgers and Detroit. The Brewers, just 2. And as John said, Brewers are good at just about everything. And I was thinking about this last night watching this game. Okay. Frelick hitting the homer. Obviously, Isaac Collins and what he's doing. Andrew Vaughn and what he's doing. We kind of forget Jackson Chirio's still on the injured list. They're doing this with Jackson Chirio on the injured list. They're doing this with Rhys Hoskins still missing time. Garrett Mitchell has been hurt for a long time. But think about this. Jackson Chirio, perhaps their best player, or trending to be their best player. A lot of times we've been in a situation, man, can they just weather the storm until so-and-so comes back? Can they just be in a spot that when this guy comes back, then we'll be in good shape. They're on the verge of possibly winning 12 games in a row, and Jackson Cheerio hasn't really been a part of that. Still their second leading home run hitter. You know, when you're watching a game and you see the home run power board going up there and you got Cheerio and Hoskins up there. We haven't seen Hoskins in how long? And Cheerio's been missing time with the hamstring. It's just, how many other teams can say that? How many other teams have we seen where they're missing their best player or one of their best players and they go through these ruts? You know, the Yankees lose Aaron Judge and all panic breaks out. And I'm not trying to compare Aaron Judge to Jackson Cheerio here, but I'm just saying, like, you've got this next man up mentality. I know that, I think that's one of the most overused phrases in sports, but it still has a lot of meaning to it. And the Brewers are the epitome of that. Next man up. All right, Jackson Cheerio's missing time. Isaac Collins elevates his game to another level. Just these different guys are rising to the challenge and stepping up to the plate, pun intended, and getting the job done. But be honest, think about it. Like, I was thinking about this last night. Have we heard anything about, like, man, when's Jackson coming back? When's Cheerio coming? I haven't gotten any text from somebody or a message. And usually that's like, can we hopefully get him back here to help us out and you know, get back to winning some ball games and such? You don't hear a lot about that. And that's not a knock on Jackson Cheerio. That's a compliment to what the Brewers are doing here. And right now they can probably afford to be a little bit more cautious, especially when it comes to a hamstring injury and a soft tissue injury. It's like, hey, take your time because we want to make sure when you're back, you're 100% ready. And you're not going to have a setback. You're not going to have a flare up. We want it back. We want Cheerio back and ready to go here for October. I'm not saying he's not going to be back until October, but you allows them to be a little cautious with this thing. But how many times can we say that about teams when you're missing one of your best players, maybe their best player? And I was thinking about this last night. I'm like, we really haven't heard a whole lot. Or I haven't seen people like clamoring, man, we really need him back. We need him back. We need him to get back here soon. When's he coming back? It's just because they keep winning. They keep getting the job done. This is one of the many reasons why this team is so flippin' fun to watch and so enjoyable to watch. And this brand of baseball is so fun to watch because you've got guys filling in that role. Jackson, we got you. All right. Isaac's going to step up. Blake Perkins is going to give you some quality games. Lockridge is going to give you a couple quality at-bats here and there. Other dudes are rising. Terang is displaying some insane power right now, for crying out loud. What, he's leading the National League in home runs in August, I think? Let me double check that, but I thought that's what I saw last night after he hit another home run. I mean, Terang has found the power stroke right now, you guys. It's unbelievable. I don't know what words we could use to describe this whole thing. Unbelievable, awesome, fun, fascinating, whatever you want to do. Well, however you want to say it. Brewers have a good shot to get 12. To get 12 in a row this afternoon, 1:10 first pitch. Brandon Woodruff on the mound. Going up against Mitch Keller. Brandon Woodruff, you look at the lineup. Yes, you've got a few guys who have a fair amount of experience going up against Woodruff. Brian Reynolds has historically struggled, finally, against the Brewers. 18 career at-bats. He's 111. Tommy Pham, though, kind of been a thorn in the side for the Brewers in more ways than one. 11 career at-bats, 364 with a 1.144 OPS. O'Neal Cruz, 7 career at-bats, 286, but he left the game early yesterday due to a head injury, that collision in the outfield. McCutchen, 14 career at-bats, just 071 against Brandon Woodruff. Flip side, you've got some Brewers with some good experience going up against Keller. Yelich being one of them. 18 career at-bats, 389 with an 865 OPS. Bryce Terang, 14 career at-bats, 286, 786 OPS. Joey Ortiz, 8 career at-bats, 625, 1.625 OPS for crying out loud. Salvatore Frelick, 10 career at-bats, 309, 62 OPS. Contreras, 19 career at-bats, a couple home runs, 263, 879 OPS. You look at that, everything on paper, and it sure feels like advantage Brewers. Now, you look at Keller, he's coming off of his last couple games, a no decision against the Reds back on the 8th. 5 2/3, 2 earned runs. Then on the 3rd against Colorado, he did pick up a win. However, it was against the Rockies, and he went 5 innings, and he gave up 5 earned runs in that contest, but still picked up the win. Mitch, so far this season, 5-10 with a 3.86 ERA. July, he was solid. I mean, his name was mentioned out there as for trade rumors and such. In 5 games, he was 2-0 with a 2.93 ERA. So far in 2 games in August, though, 1-0, 5.91 ERA. And, of course, Brandon Woodruff coming off of a fantastic game against the Mets back on the 8th where he went 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. And kind of what we led off with, what can we say about the Brewers that hasn't already been said? What can we say about Brandon Woodruff that hasn't already been said about the season that he has put together in his return season? You know, July, 2-0 in 4 games, 2.01 ERA. In August, 2 games, 2-0, 2.77 ERA. Woody's the man. Woodruff's the man. And he continues to do that. I mean, how do you not feel good about the possibility of getting 12 in a row today? And you look at the bullpen the last couple games here too, not taxed a whole lot, which you look at the schedule. Tomorrow's their last off day until September. Tomorrow is the last scheduled off day for the Brewers until September 2nd. It is going to be a grind after tomorrow's off day. So to be able to get through so far these couple games without taxing your bullpen, and I know you got that scheduled off day, but if you get even a little bit more rest in, that is huge. And that is a huge shout out to the starting pitching of Jose Quintana and Freddie Peralta last night. To be able to get through these games and not have to really tax that bullpen and get them ready to go for this huge stretch that includes Cincinnati this weekend, but of course, that big stretch against the Cubs. So, big time shout out to the pitching staff for the job that they have done, and a big time shout out to the offense for giving them plenty of run support too. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back, though, to finish up the first hour coming up in just a couple minutes. You know, when it comes to your home, nothing changes the look and feel quite like new flooring. And I could tell you from my experience, when I needed quality, service, and a team that I could trust, we went to Carpet City Flooring Center right here in Eau Claire. They've got it all: carpet, luxury vinyl planks, tile, you name it. And it's not just about the huge selection, though, too. It's the way their team takes the time to listen, to help you find the perfect fit for your style, your needs, and yes, your budget. From the moment you walk in, you'll feel at ease. And when it's time for installation, their professionals handle it with care, precision, and respect for your home. If you've been thinking about updating your floors, now is the time. Stop on in at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today and see for yourself why they are the place people trust for flooring done right. Carpet City Flooring Center, they'll floor you with service, selection, and savings. About 10 minutes to the top. Plenty more Brewers chats coming your way. But we'll finish up the first hour here with a quick Packers note. Yesterday, Brian Gutekunst speaking with the media and announcing that Jordan Love having a procedure on his left thumb that would his left thumb that is a ligament over there, but doesn't sound like it's going to be a long-term issue. In fact, could probably even return to practice next week. So doesn't sound like any concern whatsoever about his availability for week 1 against the Detroit Lions. So, but obviously you don't want to see Love, any main player, any starter, get banged up in preseason and this did happen in the preseason game against the Jets. It happened on the last play of his preseason game. So obviously you don't want that to happen. But I guess if we want to take the glass half full approach here, if there was an injury to happen, thankfully it was on his non-throwing hand, and it's something that he's going to be back from next week. We'll talk to Dr. Crow more about it in depth on Friday and such. But for what it's worth, Dr. Crow did tweet about it and said that his guess is the ulnar collateral ligament, the UCL of the thumb MCP joint. Excuse me. If so, I bet he is getting an internal brace procedure. It will need some protection after surgery, but should do well long term. So Packers did return to practice yesterday. Just a couple of notes. At one point, it looked like Romeo Doubs might have gotten a little bit banged up. But reporters, our good buddy Rob Domofsky, saying that Romeo Doubs said he did not have time to talk with reporters, but when asked if he was good after taking a hard fall in practice, he did say yes. So, Packers, no open practice today. Thursday, joint practice with the Colts ahead of the preseason game with Colts this weekend. So, Matt LaFleur also talking a little bit with the media before practice yesterday about Jordan Love's thumb injury. Said, quote, "From what I've been understanding, it's a relatively quick recovery." Said that Love is unlikely to play in the preseason finale, but the hope is that he can practice before that. So I did see this too, and this has kind of been trending on social media. If you haven't, this is probably going to add another notch on the belt of why Matthew Golden's Q rating is incredibly high right now amongst Packers fans. But if you haven't checked it out, there's a good video. It's about a little over 6 minutes or so. But he made a promise, and even on draft day, but before the draft, that once he got drafted, he was going to buy back his family's property for his grandma. And not to spoil the whole video, but you can go watch, and I think you kind of know where this is going. Kid, young man, early 20s, right head on his shoulders. I mean, well worth watching for about 6 minutes and such. If you haven't, it's on my Twitter feed too if you want to check it out. But just another notch on. I think everybody is rooting for Matthew Golden. Everybody is just like loving everything that we have heard about Matthew Golden. The type of person he is off the field, the type of player he is on the field too. So easy guy to root for. And I hope this guy balls out. And I hope we're talking about this guy as maybe one of the, future wise, longtime Packer, one of the best receivers that we've seen come through in years. And let's be real, that's some high praise because we've had some really good wide receivers come through the gates over the years here. But I think everybody is really rooting for Matthew Golden to be one of those next great receivers, one of those next great dudes to come through that locker room for the Packers. So we'll see. But if you haven't checked it out, it's well worth the 6 minutes. Just it's always good to see, a youngster gets drafted in the first round, gets a good chunk of change right away, and he's using it to buy his grandma a house. Gotta love stories like that. Gotta love it. So, other than that practice yesterday, Packers did make a couple of minor roster moves, just bringing in some, running backs and, just some more depth there too with wide receivers and that, just to get some bodies in there to make it through camp and such. Not to poo-poo on any of those signings and such, but I feel like they're just mostly just to get some bodies back in camp and get through this until roster cut downs in a couple weeks here and get to the final 53-man. But they did waive Isaiah Dunn, cornerback Isaiah Dunn. They did sign running back Tyrion Davis-Price, who was originally a draft pick from the 49ers a couple years ago, played his college ball at LSU. So, again, I don't want to poo-poo on those players and such, but they're pretty much just bodies in camp at this point to get through it until Packers have to trim down their roster to the final 53. So, but we'll talk more about Colts preseason game and such obviously later on this weekend, and maybe some players to kind of keep an eye on, or players that have to ball out. Let's not necessarily pay attention to wins and losses when it comes to the preseason and such, but these are players that are competing for jobs and players who are, we're going to be asked to have big time contributions for this ball club this year. So think about that when we get to it a little bit later on this week, and we'll definitely preview that and hit that up a little bit later on. All right, send me your stock reports. Whose stocks are rising? Whose stocks are falling? You can text those to us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Make your selections now, or hit us up on the socials or on the video streams. You can do that. So we got a comment on the video stream. It's at Willie Laura. I think Murphy is doing an excellent job as the coach by keeping them focused on what's important, but then also coming up with something like the pocket pancake to take some of the media attention and focus away from the team. Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't think that was Pat Murphy's idea to come up with the pocket pancake. He was being honest and general and all that, and it was the Brewers marketing team that ran with that one. So, morning, Morgs.
How's it going, Kasper?
Good. How are you?
Well, good. You're talking about kind of the golden effect, how it's easy to cheer for somebody like that, and you really want to see him succeed. Who do you think the last player you felt that way about was?
Aaron Jones.
Easy answer. What about different sports? Like, do you have a basketball person that would be the equivalent where you're like, I was really happy to see them hit the court? Easy to cheer for.
I mean, Giannis is easy to cheer for.
I think so.
Yeah.
He seems so likable, and he doesn't seem to have like a big fall from grace, even at as he continues to be a pinnacle. What about baseball?
Salvatore Frelick.
Why?
It's the summer of Sal, man.
Are you going to any more Brewers games now that they're on this almost 12-game streak as of tonight?
Next weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what do you feel like the streak now? Do you feel like there's momentum and there's a little bit of magic involved?
Or there's Euchre magic going on right now.
They're playing for Euchre for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But do you get nervous now?
I don't know if I get nervous. I don't know if I'm there. No.
Okay.
No.
And what about?
I'm embracing the Andy Bernard quote.
Oh gosh, from The Office.
Yes.
All right, Tuna. What is it?
It's. I wish what the season finale, the last episode. I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you actually left them.
Yeah.
I'm
But
embracing that with the Brewers
you
right
have
now.
to assume you're in the good old days now because the only
Mhm.
way to be future you and know that you are is to say, you know what, I enjoyed it while I was there just in case.
Mhm.
Just err on the side of
Yeah.
caution. You likely are in the good old days.
Yeah. Yep.
What about like entertainment industry? Do you find there to be anybody that you would like to sit down with, like celebrity wise, that you find it easy to cheer for? I know a lot of people love Bateman, like Jason Bateman.
Oh,
Think
okay.
he's like one of those guys, Paul Rudd, like, kind of
Mhm.
easy to cheer for. Not sports figure, but pop culture, movie,
Oh,
music.
I guess I never thought of that.
Who do you think would be fun to sit down and talk to? Like, I have a
Matthew
soft spot.
McConaughey.
Okay, why?
He just seems like a cool dude.
I have a soft spot for Conan O'Brien. Like,
He is. I love watching his
I
videos.
do love
Yeah,
Conan.
that's
He's
yeah.
so
I
self-deprecating,
love the
but
fact though too. He is a big history nerd.
oh, he's a Harvard grad. Like,
Yeah.
he knows what he's talking about. He's a big Lincoln buff. So, like, he knows
Yes.
a ton about Lincoln and the Civil War and stuff.
Yep.
And I love the fact that even now at like his level of stardom, he still falls totally flat sometimes in his
Mhm.
comedy routines, but he owns it. And I've always had like a super soft spot for Conan
Yep.
and what he does. I mean, I think he's pretty engaging too. So like to me, he's easy to cheer for.
Mhm.
He doesn't knock his big hosting gigs out of the park all the time, but like on that own, like when he's doing his Team Coco stuff on his own level and in his
Yep.
own element,
Yep.
easy to cheer. Great writer for The Simpsons. I mean,
Mhm.
I always enjoyed watching
Oh yeah,
Conan too.
that's a good pick. Solid pick.
We
So
agreed on that one.
I know. I'm a
Miracle of
big
miracle.
Conan fan.
All right.
Definitely.
All
So
right. I'll take that share. That's
all
an easy
right.
one.
Thanks, Margs.
Anytime, Casper.
1 in, 2 more to go. We'll be back after these news updates. The second hour kicking off on this Wednesday morning of August 13th. A big thanks for tuning in and making us a part of your start on this Wednesday morning. Don't forget, stock reports are due, so whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. You can submit your picks by hitting us up with a text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Otherwise, you can hit us up on the social media pages if you'd rather do that as well. That's a little bit easier for you. So, lots of Brewers talk here this morning, of course. Brewers going to be going for another series sweep. They've secured the series win after shelling the Pirates last night, 14-0 victory, handing Paul Skeens his 9th loss of the season. Brewers will try to go for another sweep today. First pitch is at 1:10. So make sure you got a radio in that office of yours to tune in at 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Coverage will begin at about 12:35. But again, first pitch, 1:10. Brandon Woodruff looking to remain undefeated, looking for his 5th win on the season. Mitch Keller going on the mound for the Pirates. And reminder, tomorrow is the last off day for the Brewers all the way until September 2nd. That's the day after Labor Day, to put that in perspective. So a grueling stretch run after this game and after this off day tomorrow that includes a road series against Cincinnati this weekend, those 5 games in 4 days against the Cubs, the final time the Brewers will be going up against the Cubbies. And then they return home to San Francisco, to take on San Francisco, then a 4-game series with the Diamondbacks, and then they finish off the month of August with 3 games in Toronto. Toronto's chasing the Brewers for the best record in Major League Baseball, and then return home to face the Philadelphia Phillies. So a grueling stretch coming up here, but a mixture of like very winnable games, very tough games, good matchups and such. So the question I want to throw out there for everybody, looking at not to look ahead too far because we got to focus on today's game. I understand that. But with Cincinnati for 3 games, 5 games against the Cubs, 3 games against the Giants, 4 games against the Diamondbacks, those 3 games on the road against Toronto, and then 3 games against the Phillies with only 1 off day mixed in there, and it's at the end and right in the middle of that Phillies series. Could this be a season-defining stretch for the Brewers in terms of maybe getting first place in the division, first place in the National League, clinching a playoff spot, or however you want to phrase it? Is this going to potentially be a season-defining stretch here for the Brewers? What say you, Lucas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that, like, I don't suspect they're going to be as white hot as they've been, though. What was the stat? There's 3 teams all time that have had 3 11+ winning streaks in a season.
Sarah Lang's last night, 13th team with multiple win streaks of at least 11 games in a season since 1900, but they are the first National League team since the 1935 Chicago Cubs. I believe our good friend Marty Green was 10 at that time, 10 years old at that time. So, yeah.
Just entering junior high at the point. I don't think they're going to stay that hot. They don't have to, obviously, to make the playoffs. They're pretty much a stone cold lock to do that.
What I saw Fangraphs the other day, 99.9% chance, the highest of any Major League Baseball team.
Yeah.
99.9.
I mean, we'd have to have like the complete opposite of what we've been seeing, like 11-game losing streak at this point for them to get in trouble, and that wouldn't even knock them out probably unless everyone else got similarly hot. Based on the quality of the competition between divisional opponents who are still threatening, high quality other teams, the Blue Jays being one of the hotter teams in baseball. I mean, weird to say at this point. Now you look at Arizona and think, I guess that's going to be an okay spot there, but that's where they're at this season. That's the result of how this season has gone. So it's definitely that way. I don't know that they will end that stretch as the number 1 team in the National League, but I'm not too hung up on the seeding given how the playoffs tend to go. At this point, just make sure you are well set for October. That should be the biggest focus at this point. Maybe you end up in a weird situation where you end up as a 3 seed and the Cubs are the 6th. Doubt that's going to happen. It could, though, with the variance that these National League teams have had. So maybe you want to avoid something like that. Or I still think you really want to avoid Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be a tough out. Other than that, I think they're in pretty good spot. And they're in pretty good shape to have a good spot no matter what.
Fair to say the National League is a lot deeper than the American League right now?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, the World Series winner will be an American League team this year.
Probably.
And probably some team that barely qualifies. It'll be probably the Rangers will end up as like the 5th
Well, it is
seed.
a Bruce Bochy odd year or whatever.
That's right. Yes, because it wasn't in the American League. That's how that goes. In the National League, it has to be even years with the Giants. I think we're still seeing who ultimately is going to get in from the National League. Like, it's going to be the Dodgers. It's going to be the Brewers, of course, as we've said, and it's going to be the Phillies. I did think for the longest time, I think most of us thought the Mets for sure, in part thanks to the Brewers. That's looked shakier. I still think they recover. Cubs will be there. The Padres are going to be there. And after that, you'd have to have some team outside of Cincinnati. Yeah, they're the other looming team. I don't know that any other team's really going to get into this, but those are some pretty strong teams, regardless of how they look right now, the Mets being what I just mentioned. Like any of those teams you could see winning the World Series short of the Reds. I don't think Cincinnati is a World Series winning team if they managed to make the playoffs, but any one of those other ones looks like a beyond the vagaries of the playoffs. They all look like high quality teams. I'd rank them higher. Like if I'm doing power rankings right now across baseball, Milwaukee's number 1, hands down. I'd say Philadelphia is number 2. Toronto's a very close number 3. You could flip them either way. Probably the 4th. Who would I put as? Seattle. I'd say the Mariners probably 4th. Boston's probably 5th. So I just had a whole bunch of American League teams, but some of that's also recency bias. So they're performing well of late, and I didn't count Cleveland. It's been hot of late.
I've got Fangraphs up now. They must have updated it, or they just round up because they've got 100% chance the Brewers make the playoffs.
Well, there you go.
100% chance.
It's over. Come back in October, folks.
Yet they have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th best odds to win the World Series, behind the Dodgers, who have a 17.8% chance, the 0.3% chance, the Mariners at a 10.8%, at an 8.9% chance. And then the Brewers come in after those.
What was the Brewers' percentage again?
To win the World Series?
Yeah.
8.1.
And not bad. I mean, it's in the, excuse the pun, ballpark of the Mariners and the Blue Jays. I get it with...
They have an 82.9% chance to clinch a bye, according to Fangraphs. That is the highest. The next closest is the Blue Jays at a 67.8%.
Yeah. So. I mean, the talent on the Phillies and Dodgers is excellent. We know. I mean, if you're fantasy picking, of course, you're going to probably, I think, and any Brewers fan would probably take more Phillies and Dodgers players if you're fantasy picking a generic team than you're picking Brewers just because of the talent. They should put Pat Murphy managing the Phillies lineup or the Dodgers lineup. I don't know how great it's going to go because, dynamics is there's a reason the Brewers are performing as well as they are. It's who they brought in, not necessarily the best talent. They might do better with Pat Murphy ahead of Thompson and Roberts. Those are 2 good managers. Murphy might do better at this point. Those teams might perform better, but I understand why Philadelphia and Los Angeles would be thought of as likelier World Series champion. I mean, one is the defending champion. They have a lot of the same players that they had last year.
Pat Murphy might be the first manager since Bobby Cox to win back-to-back managers of the year. Think about that. You got to go back to Bobby Cox for that in the National League.
I think it makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense. Who else do you give it to in the National League at this point? Maybe a little bit with the Marlins, but I mean, if the Brewers finish in first place, it would be a travesty, an absolute travesty if Pat Murphy, I was almost going to say Mark Murphy, Pat Murphy does not win Manager of the Year again. Now, I know he could give a rip about that, and that's not the biggest ultimate prize we want as Brewers fans or the Brewers want. But that would be a huge upset, and they would completely get it wrong if they don't. I don't want to hear the whole you can't do back-to-back. You give it to somebody who deserves it.
Well, and like you said, the most recent back-to-back was not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other ones are
You expected the Dodgers to be there. You expected the Phillies to be there. You expected the Cubs to be better this year. And right now they're struggling. So,
right. So I mean, Council had I think, did I say this a few weeks ago that Council could get there if the Cubs went on a heck of a run and the Brewers slipped?
Mhm.
Which there's still time left in the season. We still got a month and a half, and crazy things have happened in September. We see it all the time.
Let's face it, if the Cubs sweep the Brewers in 5 games, that things get a little bit more dicey.
Mm-hmm. If this flips around and we see the Cubs leading by 3.5 games going into the end of the season, okay, maybe Council does end up getting it. Short of that scenario, and that's one of numerous ones, yeah, I think some of the Padres' success can go to their general manager. Not that
he's like the Rams general manager. F them picks.
AJ Preller.
Yeah, F them picks. F them prospects.
Pretty much. But it's kind of working. Again, they need to get their title too. But Mike Schilt, I could see him getting some vote, but there's no one jumping out. Had the Reds performed much better, like a lot of us expected,
mm-hmm.
I could see Terry Francona winning it. Like, oh, you went to yet another team and did that? I might actually put Francona ahead of Murphy. Not that I would have voted that way. I think I might have voted. Well, then again, if Francona made that much of a difference for the Cincinnati Reds and they were clearly in first place. Well, look, if the Reds had performed like a lot of people had thought, the Brewers would not be doing nearly as well in the standings. And then I think it answers itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would be Terry Francona. That's not happening. It's the not quite the opposite, but the Reds are probably a little ahead of where most of us thought Milwaukee was going to be. And Milwaukee's doing way better than anyone thought any team short of maybe the Cubs are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Murphy is. Do we have updated odds on?
I will Google those right now.
See if Murphy's still right up near the top for the National League again. I think John Schneider's got a really good shot.
I would think so for Toronto.
AJ Hinch probably still, though, with the Tigers slipping a little and the Blue Jays being hotter of late.
So AL John Schneider -250, AJ Hinch +220. Spotter from Houston's got the 3rd best odds. National League, it's Pat Murphy. This is according to oddspedia.com. -175, Council +115. Then a big gap, Terry Francona and Mike Schilt are next at +2,300, and Clayton from the Marlins.
Okay, so it's basically, how do the Brewers and Cubs do? They're going to answer the.
So it's essentially who wins the division between those two. It feels like who's going to win.
Going to answer a lot of questions. Buys, division, manager of the year, probably is going to end up doing that for. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the Cubs turn this around with some of their weaknesses that they didn't address, that's probably on Council. Okay, well, that would be worthy of manager of the year. If the Brewers keep playing as well as they have, it sure looks like that's Pat Murphy's hand on a lot of that. He should win manager of the year.
There's a really good chance. I think, obviously the ultimate one is just that piece of hunk of metal, as Rob Manfred calls it, is the World Series trophy. That's the big thing here. But I mean, I'm just kind of forecasting here a little bit into the off season and such. Could we collect a lot of hardware, a World Series trophy? Not going to get an MVP award. That's just not going to happen. I don't think you'll get a rookie of the year, but you're going to have some finalists between Isaac Collins and Mizorowski. Caleb Durbin's going to get some mentions. Mm-hmm. It's usually top 3, and I think it's going to just be one Brewer in that top 3. And right now, the leader in the latest poll from MLB.com, Isaac Collins is at 3, and then Mizorowski's at 4.
Okay.
Your top 2 are still Drake Baldwin and Ramirez from the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
So you throw those in there, you might get some Gold Glove winners for the Brewers, a National League Manager of the Year, and how does Matt Arnold not win Executive of the Year again if the Brewers finish in first place?
He might get that yet again. Again, if depending on, and again, the voting is regular season only.
Regular season, yep.
But if the Padres can wrest the division from the Dodgers.
But what's more impressive, getting a known talent like the Padres, or Matt Arnold getting Andrew Vaughn and Quinn Priester and these guys, and look what the hell they're doing right now.
Yeah, like I think that's more impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's like who and what, you know.
Yeah.
Come on now.
The diamonds in the rough. Dave Dombrowski, I think, has got a shot also from Philadelphia. He'll be in the discussion, and he's got obviously a really good track record historically. He's probably the biggest gravitas GM out there. But yeah, it's gosh, all of the, like you just said, that's the tipping point for me right now where I would go Arnold. Again, finding all of these guys and then they become so good. Well, that's Matt Arnold's hand in all of this. Okay, so I would go Arnold right now. Again, in mid-August, lots to go, but yeah. Right now, I mean, if I'm casting my vote today, it's easily Murphy and Arnold.
There was, I mentioned it in the first hour just for a hot minute, but I was watching Sunday Night Baseball with the Cardinals and Cubs, and they had the Cardinals president of baseball operations on, and kind of talking about what they did at the trade deadline, their season, not really hitting expectations and that sort of thing, and I thought he made a kind of an interesting note, just randomly kind of said, you look at what Milwaukee, I'm paraphrasing, he said, you look at what Milwaukee's doing, we got to get back to doing that. We got to, and essentially saying, building our foundation, building our farm system, building our own homegrown players and talent. He's like, because, we used to have success with that. We kind of got a little bit away from that. I don't think, if the Brewers go and win the World Series, I don't think you're all of a sudden going to see a ton of teams trying to replicate what the Brewers do. Dodgers aren't going to do that. I mean, Dodgers still have a really good farm system. I think their latest ranking is still number 1. I mean, they're really good at it.
Yeah.
But you're not going to see these, like, let's say all these other teams kind of like, okay, we're going to shed a bunch of payroll and just do what the Brewers do.
You're not going to save money, though.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to see a full-on. You may see a couple teams try to do that. You may see a couple teams who have, hey, we have a general manager opening. Who's on staff for the Brewers that maybe we could kind of pluck in? We see that every sport, every year, right?
Hey, it'd be what's a good team right now that loves to save themselves some money and has maybe even though they gave the guy a contract, their current guy a big contract, maybe a shaky GM/director of baseball operations position, certain team to the west of us.
Minnesota?
Yeah. And also happens to have a pretty good farm system. There's a model to follow. All things different when they get a new owner, which I still think will happen. I think if there wasn't a new CBA coming in under a year and a half, well, whenever it gets agreed to, I think you might see it happen more frequently. My guess is the teams that might want to follow that model are going to hold, thinking, maybe it's going to be better. Like, I keep going back to Bob Nutting from Pittsburgh. That seems like the prototypical follow the Brewers model based on the current financial economic structure of baseball kind of team. Because Nutting has complained a lot about probably one of the more, I guess he's not that vocal, but he's been one of the more vocal owners to say the economics don't work in baseball. And that's part of the reason why he just sits and twiddles his thumb and does nothing. And, well, the end result is the Pirates suck a lot.
Yeah.
So I think he's one of those types that's like, yeah, let's wait. Because if it gets better, we could maybe do something different. But short of that, yes, the Brewers model is a good one. But how many teams can follow that? The Rays model has been another historic, by modern standards, historic thing to follow. They do a great job of finding talent, raising talent in their farm system, and being constantly successful where economically they probably shouldn't. They're in a larger-ish market. We know the reasons why, and with Tropicana Field. But I think it's a good idea what the Cardinals have done. What's suggested there, I'll be curious with the transition to their new GM next year, Chaim Bloom, and that's been very much a planned transition. So I think what you're hearing the Cardinals say is what they're going to continue to do going next year. They wouldn't be going on ESPN
right,
and saying maybe we should try this, and then they'd pull a 180.
Mhm.
No, that is what they're going to do. They've set it out, and so Brewers fans, if you don't want to see the Cardinals get better, unfortunately, you may be providing them the model. And the Cardinals historically have a very, very good organization too. So, I
And
wanna
really, I mean, if you think about when they were really good, though, too, like a lot of their top players were homegrown players, too, right?
Mhm.
I mean, obviously the easy one's Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
When you think about, but Yadier Molina,
Mhm.
you know, a lot of those guys, that's when they were at their peak, was some of their guys, their quote unquote, their guys.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So,
Right. So they're going to probably end up doing that. The transition, it was John Mozeliak who's been there back to 2017 to Bloom. They'll probably get better pretty soon. But that would be a fun thing to watch too, just as a baseball fan, to see two teams that do it that way and have that Cardinals Brewers rivalry pick up again. Not to the level of Cubs Brewers, of course, but it's a good model to follow for those teams.
mhm.
And I think even after whatever we get from a CBA, we're not going to get a hard cap.
Yeah.
We might get something. I think we're going to get a lot closer to it than we're at now. Now that may still be weak by sports standards.
Maybe something like the NBA salary
I
cap.
wonder, or
Yeah.
let's be real, the NFL one. Could we start seeing like weird salary cap machinations and cap versus cash, and we have to have Andrew Brandt come do the explainer?
I
every year?
don't think we'll get it. Yeah, at least the NFL one's a little bit more of a hard cap.
It is.
You can
ultimately.
manipulate it with cap hits, and you know it's like the guaranteed portions. But baseball contracts right now for some of these individual players, I think, is so far down that you can't do an NFL style salary cap.
No. If you were to,
You'd almost have to say, okay, we're going to start this in 20 years.
right,
You know, you can't start it right now.
and then have the CBA go for, like, in that case, 30 years.
Right.
That's not happening.
No.
So they're going to do something, though. But regardless of what that is, that Brewers model, Rays model, potentially, again, Cardinals model, the fact that it's, okay, I know it hasn't resulted in a World Series title for, well, any of those teams in those. I know the Cardinals had the 2011 one, so maybe you could count that, and the 06 titles, but I'm not sure if you would count that under that same approach. I think maybe to a degree, but it's still a way to get the lower revenue teams to be competitive. I mean, Milwaukee's going to keep doing it. What's your other option?
Right.
So I do think other teams, if they're smart, they should follow that. Absolutely.
Question, kind of a fun question. I'll throw it out there. Then we got to take a break. It's not Moneyball, but what would we call this style for the Brewers? It's not money. I wouldn't say Moneyball. It's not Moneyball because you're not supposed to bunt in Moneyball. Remember in the movie?
Right.
You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to steal bases.
For some reason, the first thing the thought came to my mind is, because this doesn't have a ball, so I'm not going to go right to that, but all the small things.
Okay, Blink 182.
Should we call it Blink Ball?
Blink Ball.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, they're between small things on the field, bunting, little sorts of things like that, and small acquisitions. Like, okay, let's try out this Vaughn guy. Let's see what happens in this trade. It's a lot of small things that have worked out. So I just, I got to come up with something.
Are they going to make a movie in 20 years if the Brewers win this thing? Are they going to make a movie in 20 years?
Honestly, I keep having the Cleveland Indians winning streak theme music with the owner leopard dress.
The Major League movie.
Yes, that music, da 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 da, and the winds keep piling up and piling up.
Are we peeling off sections of Mark Atanasio?
No, absolutely not. Where there's one part of that movie. Well, there's actually, let's be real. There's several parts of that movie that probably should just be left back in the late 1980s. And with that particular team, but that keeps coming to mind. That's what this did. I happened to be listening to the game last night when Yelich hit his home run, which at that point, like, I already knew the Brewers were going to beat the Pirates the way that game was going. So Yelich hits the home run, and Lane Grindle and Josh Mauer took like the next 7 to 10 minutes talking about the magic of this season. I don't know if anyone listening probably remembers last night. Like you figure they talk about other stuff, and they're both really good announcers. Side note: Brewers are in pretty good shape between them and Levering. They got a really good and identifiable
Well, I
radio
mean, they've got
team.
if BA's out, they just put one of their radio guys on the telecast.
Right.
I've noticed a lot. Rock is missing time. I wonder if he's getting towards the end. And then they'll bring in Tim Dillard or what's his face? I just blanked on him, but Vinny.
Yeah,
Vinny. They'll throw in all these other guys in there too.
Right.
So
they've got good folks to do it. For whatever reason, it seems like, and I'll hear some of the other baseball calls on highlights on like Baseball Tonight. Maybe it's just because I hear more of the Brewers because where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to have a certain style, and I'm not sure if they got that from Euchre or how that developed, but it's a little more particular to Milwaukee. Anyway, so they're going through the thing, and they keep talking about how that home run made them, and then playing off that, not belaboring on that particular hit from Yelich,
mm-hmm.
on the magic of the season and why people are coming to the games to see something special. And they, as the saying goes, waxing poetic for a long time. And I'm like, is this, because I don't hear a lot of games on radio, admittedly, doing other stuff. I'm not sure if this happens frequently, but man, I kind of felt like I was back in the movie again, hearing them talk about this, like what was it, like a 2-run home run already with a lead over Pittsburgh. And this is making the Brewers announcers go, what is going on here? That tells you something about that magic kept coming to mind.
Mm-hmm.
They kept saying magic.
It's Euchre magic, right?
I know. And I know that's not a new term. How many teams have used magic?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. More Brewers talk coming up here. We got to take a quick break, though, and we'll be back after these really quick words. Coming up this Sunday, August 17th, it's the VFW Post 305 end of summer celebration going on from 11 to 5 p.m. We'll have beer, drinks, food for purchase, as well as games, raffles, and fun for all. Free admissions, all going down at the Pavilion Tiki Bar area. Plus, featuring music from Eddie Beavers going on from 1 to 4 again. It's this Sunday, August 17th from 11 to 5 p.m. VFW Post 305 end of summer celebration. Talking some Brewers as the Brew Crew will be going for their 12th straight win. Maybe some free burgers afterwards.
Never had a George Webb burger.
I was just going to ask you, because you did spend a hot minute down there in Milwaukee. Weren't you like,
yeah, but it was in the mid 80s.
Okay.
I mean, I have memories of food even when I was a, kindergarten, first, second grader.
Mhm.
But I don't know that my family ever went to George Webb. It's been around for a long time. But no, I don't think we ever quite made it there. I was going to stop there the last time I was in Milwaukee, which was a year ago to the weekend. But we didn't quite have time to grab George Webb on the way out. So that's one like now you have to get custard at one of the numerous custard stands. And I have to get a George Webb at some point. Anyone at a George Webb? Can you comment on the quality? Like, I don't get the impression like they're the best burger anyone's ever had, but they're a thing. Have you ever had a George Webb?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Because they're very Milwaukee centric. You're not going to get one in like Osseo or something like that.
Mhm.
So anyway, we could be George Webb burgers for everyone.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Maybe.
If they win.
So, we'll see at 1:10 again. First pitch, Brandon Woodruff on the mound. Obviously everybody's trying to figure out the key to success for the Brewers, or what's been the most impressive thing and such. But you think about it too, with this winning streak and what they're doing. We have not. At least I haven't. We have not heard like a phrase or anybody kind of saying, "Man, if they could, when's Jackson Chourio coming back?" Kind of forget Jackson Chourio's not in the lineup. He's on the injured list. And he's one of their best players, if not the best player. And they're still doing this without him. They've done it for a long time without Rhys Hoskins. Obviously, Garrett Mitchell. We were even at one point like, "Oh, when is he coming back so we can get it?" Like,
that's right. He's on the team,
right? But even like and this is not a knock on like Jackson Chourio or anything like that. It's just, have you heard anybody saying like, "Man, if they could just, when are we going to get him back? When are we going to get him back? We really need him back. We really need him back." Been kind of quiet.
Worried about it when it happened.
Yeah.
And admittedly, just from my point of view, I was half worried because he's on my fantasy team and we're getting towards the playoffs. But it's incredible. But this goes back to what we were saying earlier about why Matt Arnold probably, I would think right now, should win general manager, president, executive of the year. That's the way we should put it. Because he's found the right type of talent to bring up to produce at the major league level that's not going to be a potential all-star. Andrew Vaughn, I don't know if he's going to be an all-star at any point in the future. Jacob Mizorowski turned out to be an all-star pretty quickly. Maybe for PR reasons, but the point is he was named because he did stuff on the field. So you're definitely going to want to have Jackson Chourio for the playoffs. This isn't the Ewing theory here. They should have him. You should have the most talented players. It doesn't matter as much, though. Then I'll ask this. Which player gets injured where you go, uh-oh, now they know that they really are screwed? And I ask that in part because ordinarily, I probably would have said Jackson Chourio is the one that I go, that's the Achilles heel. So far, no. Who is it? Or is there one?
Maybe Contreras. Because, they did miss Sal Frelick for a hot minute, and they were still winning. And I hate saying that because Sal Frelick is the greatest baseball player of all time.
Right. He's going to win the Sal Frelick Award this offseason.
I would maybe even a little bit of Yelich just from the DH role. Terang, I think, is like what tops right now in the month of August for home runs. So he's got this power punch right now. And, you miss him, you kind of lose a little bit there. But, if we're talking just straight up position players, because I think that's the easiest one at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Contreras.
If he got injured today,
yeah.
let's say.
Because I mean, he's playing incredibly well at the plate right now. I probably would go Contreras, to be honest with
Well,
you.
the thing is, he was colder earlier
Yeah,
this season.
but that's the thing. It's hard.
Right.
It's very hard.
Yeah. No one you said there where made me go, oh, like if had they lost Josh Hader in 2018 or something, you would have been like, well, they're done. No one actually, had they lost Josh Hader in 2018, knowing how that was the beginning of the regeneration era, they probably would have found another bullpen guy at that time. I don't know that there is anyone. I think they need to lose like 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe you start to put that together, like, okay, how thin do they get? Because you're not going to keep finding guys. I mean, you do have folks step up in the postseason. You see it most years. Someone, he came out of where and suddenly performs really well. So maybe the Brewers have another one of those guys. I don't know who that is. Maybe it is Rhys Hoskins. And Rhys Hoskins goes on the craziest October run we've ever seen. And he was like the MVP of the NLDS or something. That's the sort of thing I could see happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's more on the pitching side. Is there any? I mean,
Miz has been missed a time, and look at they're still winning. So I mean,
Woodruff came like you don't need him. He's performing well now.
Freddie, yes, has the most wins, but has Freddie been like, he's not going to win a Cy Young? Let's just, you may have the most wins in the major league, but he's not winning a Cy Young though.
No.
So,
okay, honestly, is the answer if Pat Murphy had to miss?
Maybe it's Pat Murphy.
Like if he got, let's say he got like a heart attack or something. I'm sorry to say, but
he kind of did a couple years ago,
right?
So,
so something like that happens and he's out.
So essentially, what we're asking is, who is the most pivotal Brewers person right now? Right now,
I think it's Pat Murphy. I would really be concerned. Like I think, because who would fill in? Who's the
Ricky Weeks?
That would be interesting,
mm-hmm.
given how Weeks has been talked about enough. I mean, at least in the Brewers' case, the scenario that we thought was going to happen, maybe if whatever could conceivably in this worst case scenario would happen. Like, you'd like to think the Brewers would still be in an okay spot if he was considered the successor and potentially the long-term future manager of the Brewers. They should do okay. I would think there'd be enough galvanizing initially. He's obviously been able to watch everything, so I don't think he would do anything radically. Like, he doesn't turn into Mr. Analytics overnight. Do we know much about Weeks in terms of his approach to?
I mean, he's filled in a few games here or there, but you almost feel like it's on-the-job training, because when he was hired, it was associate manager. It wasn't bench coach. Remember, that was that whole couple years, then it's going to be Ricky Weeks as manager. Right now, it's like, no, I don't want it. No. Keep Pat. Come on now.
Right,
you got to be here for a while.
Yeah.
So,
so I think he would. I mean, Ricky Weeks is smart, obviously. He's going to keep managing the way Murphy does. You don't mess with that. Longer term, whenever Murphy is done, whether that's next year, whether that's 10 years from now, we have 77-year-old Pat Murphy still managing, which that could be kind of cool. And Weeks almost certainly becomes the next. Weeks is young enough too. Yeah. He could probably wait it out a little while.
Yeah.
Maybe he eventually evolves. Every manager is their own person, but I think there'd be some continuity. But there's a certain subtlety for anyone who's succeeding. I worry at that point if that were to happen. So let's just hope nothing happens to Pat Murphy.
Yeah.
Or there's not some.
Well, to keep him young, he's got a couple young kids. I think one of them is even around Hudson's age. So
that's right.
He's got to be. He's young at heart. So
I think that does a lot for a lot of people too. So let's hope that applies to Pat Murphy.
By the way, I did post some breaking news. If you want to look on Facebook or my Twitter feed.
I'm going to go to, because I'm on the Twitter right now.
Okay, look it up.
Let's
fantastic art piece by me.
By you?
Yeah.
I did not know you were an artist, but
well, you'll see once you post it up there.
Let's see here. So, what did you just post? By the way, are we doing anything with? Oh my gosh, that is. Oh boy.
See, I did change the wording though. Place back instead of peeling off a section.
Right. Now I got to imagine Mark Atanasio wearing that. Folks, now you really got to see what I'm talking about. Wow. Okay.
It's got to be that.
But should we? I was going to say Mark Ananasio covered in pocket pancakes, about the same size. If you think about it in terms of the size of the thing that you're peeling off. Have we thought of doing anything with pocket pancakes this season?
Well, I mean, the Brewers are
No, here at the radio station. Like, I know we're just past the Kasper Classic, so we can't really do that.
That could be a question. What's the snack that you have in your pocket right now?
Ooh,
I got some, maybe some what's it called? Oh gosh, what's that called in the dryer vent?
Lint.
Lint.
Dryer sheets.
Yeah, no lint. That's
Actual
what
lint.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so
lint.
high in fiber.
So, yeah,
that's good.
Yep.
I've got my car keys, so if I need any iron,
The fact
sure,
that
that would
this
be
is,
great.
Like, pocket pancakes is actually a thing.
I know, like that when that started to bubble up, I'm like, so
it's like the Midwestern. I mean, okay, it's a Wisconsin. It's like having beef jerky in your pocket.
Mhm.
I know that's kind of a running joke, but it's kind of it's beef jerky. Is
okay.
the thing,
Okay. So we think it's a joke,
but it's a real thing.
Well, okay, and maybe this speaks to the particulars of my wife's favorites and such. But we have what we call emergency beef jerky in the car. We need to have this at all times. She's one of those hangry types. I think we talked about this before. Yeah,
whenever we go on road trips in our family, my wife has to grab beef jerky.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, we have to have that there in the car most times, because if she's done with work and she's really hungry and I'm like, sorry, I don't have it. Do you need me to get emergency beef jerky? Yes, go. Otherwise, we have it on hand. There you go. So the pocket jerky thing is a thing. A, because it's a good snack. B, can prevent darker moods, shall we say. That the thing with this Brewers team too is, like, to expand upon the pocket pancake thing. You little stuff that turns into, like, is this emblematic of the year? Like, the pocket pancake may be the thing that I most think of, unless they win the World Series. That might be the thing that I think of as, like, what's emblematic of 2025. It doesn't mean the most, but it's the thing that came out of, so it's that. That or like Andrew Vaughn. I'm trying to think, what's the thing. I was thinking about this actually yesterday, and you know me, I tend to think way too long term with stuff. I'm already thinking like 5 steps ahead of whatever. Doesn't necessarily serve me well, but I'm always thinking like way big picture. Not to get ahead of this Brewers season, but given how much people are enjoying this year, and I started to think, oh gosh, are we going to get set up for what happened last year? What do you most remember about the 2024 Brewers season?
The playoff game.
Exactly. Correct me if I'm wrong, because this, again, recency thing where you're like, ancient history is clear as a bell, but like the last 5 years, this happens to all of us, is kind of vague because it's so recent it blurs. Seem to recall last year was kind of like a lesser version, if we can believe it, of this year. No one thought the Brewers are going to be this good. It's just enjoy the ride. Everything is great. Whatever happens in the playoffs is fine. And like, that was a legitimate feeling. I
playing with house money, essentially.
Yes, that's what last year was. And I think I remember thinking after that happened, the Alonso home run, like, let's remember that too, because it's going to be very easy to focus on that home run and the way it ended. Now, there's the euchre factor to this. Of course, that's going to color that a little extra, and that's understandable given what happened next. But I think that did wash away a lot of the good feelings that we should have had about the 2024 season. So I'm saying all of this to maybe, because, look, there are several other teams that have a good chance of winning the World Series as well. And if it doesn't work out for Milwaukee this year, barring some not tragic, that's a bad way to put it, but just a way of losing. Let's remember that this is also still a pretty awesome year. If we're going to enjoy the ride, bottle this up now. You may bottle some of it up for now. You may want to have it later on so you can look back and enjoy it. There are plenty of other teams, and I'm talking down now, and then we can get back on let's win the World Series. Well, not be, but you know what I'm saying. There are plenty of other teams that go, you know what, sometimes we don't win it all, but this season was so awesome. In retrospect, it's cool. So this is a great year. Let's keep remembering this down the road. The pocket pancakes and Isaac Collins and all sorts of weird stuff. This is cool. And whatever happens in the playoffs, It still will be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just remember that.
Chad says, good morning, gentlemen. Love this conversation. Thinking less about his bad and more about the importance of working with pitchers and calling their games. I would say Contreras. So,
Okay.
yeah,
There's
I would
another
agree
one.
with that. All right, we got to take a quick break and wrap up the second hour. So, final call on stock reports. Whose stock is up? Whose stock is down? You can hit us up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. When your vehicle needs work, there's only one place that you can trust, and that's AJM Automotive in Eau Claire. From oil changes and brake jobs to engine repairs, even small engine repairs for those lawnmowers of yours, the team at AJM Automotive does it all, and they do it right. They're honest, upfront, and treat you just like a neighbor. not another ticket. If you want dependable work at a fair price, take it to AJM Automotive in Eau Claire, located at 1919 Brackett Avenue. Just about a few minutes to the top of the hour here. Obviously, a lot of Brewers chat this morning. Brewers going to go for another sweep and maybe get to that 12 wins in a row. First pitch, 1:10. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Brandon Woodruff on the mound, Mitch Keller on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then off day for the Brewers, and that's the final off day all the way till September 2nd. It's a Tuesday, right after Labor Day. So a grueling stretch coming up here for the Brewers. But I mean, you know, we've talked about it at different injuries or you know, I don't know. It seems like they've just overcome so many obstacles. This might be maybe one of the final ones in the regular season they have to overcome is this grueling stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of running out of words or phrases to really describe this Brewers team at this point.
Don't know. Like something's going really right.
Mm-hmm.
Is the best. Like I was saying from the announcers last night, on the radio broadcast, Gwendolyn Maurer. It's magical what's happening right now.
And, you know, we put up a poll question, our Post Glass and Mirror 715 Speaks poll question last night, and you're starting to see some of it. Not a whole lot of talk about it, but is there any concern on your part that they're peaking a little too early?
Yes, that definitely has crossed my mind.
Okay.
For sure, it has. That does not mean that they're not going to win it. I think it's a fair thought that they're really hot now, and they're not going to be as hot in September, and maybe not in October, and that may not make a difference, and they may still win the World Series. I just don't think they're going to be. I mean, they're not going to be winning every single game the rest of the season. It feels like it at this point. They're not. It's okay. Like, you can have these big streaks and perform really well midseason and parlay that into a World Series. I can't remember who I was reading on social media yesterday compared this to the Angels in 2002, that they were like this unstoppable force during the regular season. Took them 7 games and a come from behind win in Game 6 to win the World Series. Like that was not exactly easy, but that could happen. Specifically to the Twins, I keep thinking of was the 13 or 15 game winning streak in June of 91 that turned around that team. White hot then. They didn't stay that way the entire year. And also, speaking of the World Series, as close of a World Series as you're probably ever going to see. We've talked about the legend of 91. But they still won it. So maybe that's the comp for the Brewers. They're having this great middle of the season, cool off a little bit, and they're going to probably have some real dicey playoff moments. That's the path to get to a championship. So, yeah, they may be peaking too early, but I don't know that necessarily means, they're not going to win the World Series. Because, again, gosh, if we're playing the drinking game of how many times I reference the vagaries of the playoffs, you're all going to be drunk by 9. But that's what happens in the playoffs. All sorts of things happen. You don't have to be the whitest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Team in baseball to win in the MLB postseason. Could be you could be the 6th seed and go on the run.
Yeah.
So it kind of doesn't matter. I really more want to see them put together a team now that can do well. It also means you should be striking out a lot of opponents because that's going to really come up. That's a thread. If they're doing that and everything else, then I think they're built well, regardless of what happens the rest of the season.
All right. How about the rest of you? Any concern about that? 75% of you said no right now, which I'm not surprised. They're saying no. I think we're all just kind of living in the moment and such. But yeah, I'll be honest. It's crossed my mind too.
It's okay.
I think it's crossed. I think you'd be kidding yourself if it hasn't at least crossed your mind.
Because it happens.
Yeah, it absolutely
A lot.
does. But I will say, if they get through this upcoming stretch and we get into September and they're still like this, then as Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty once said, now we're cooking with peanut oil.
Pancake oil.
Pancake oil. Pancake batter. Right? Yeah. Flipping the pancakes. Flapjacks. Yeah. All right. 2 in, 1 more to go. Stock reports coming up after these news updates.
Dan's got you covered with his trademark blend of sports passion and knowledge. He has the sports info you want and the sports therapy you need. So get your game face on, people.
Let's go get some bell, huh? Put up a shut-up turn. We gotta get it started from the jump. Play big. Let's go. This is what legends made, man. Showtime. Welcome to the big league. Let's go!
Because it's the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, final hour kicking off right now on this Wednesday morning. It is a Making the Turn Wednesday, already halfway through the work week here. We've got stock reports coming up here in just a moment. Josh on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with a quick text saying it's Brewers in the outfield starring Bob Uecker. I kind of like that one. Angels in the outfield, Brewers in the outfield.
Yes.
Bob Uecker. That's not a bad one.
You
not
in
a
the
bad
outfield.
one. So
I like it.
good stuff there. Thanks for texting that in. Let's take a quick phone call here this morning on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line this morning. What we got? We got Brian on the line. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good, Dan. How are you?
Not too bad, buddy. What's on your mind this morning?
Well, a bunch of things. Number one, Dan, is you can no longer take any more vacations. I'm very tired of listening to the subs from Madison. You do a great job and talk about sports. I appreciate you. Number two, I think the most important player coach for the Brewers currently is Pat Murphy. I know losing Contreras would be huge, but Pat Murphy, I tell you, he's got this team rolling. Under counts, it always felt like they were uptight. You never knew what decisions he was going to make during the game, but Murphy just has this team playing top-notch ball. The third thing I like to say is I think it's the fact that Bob Uecker, his aura and presence is still around Miller Park or AmFam Field, and I think he's playing a huge role this year, even though he's no longer with us. It's just an atmosphere that you won't believe. If you haven't gotten down to AmFam Field yet, you should. We were just there on Sunday for that come-from-behind walk-off homer, and it was electric. I've been to games since 1978 at County Stadium, Miller Park. I've never seen AmFam Field like this before. You're chugging along right now, and I think it's going to be really hard for the Brewers to fall out of first place the rest of the year.
So, Brian, I want to go back to what you just said about the environment, because Pat Murphy said that similar after the game, too. He said he's been there for 10 years, and he's never seen an environment like that, too. So you were just there. Pat Murphy ain't joshing us with that. It was that electric down there?
It was unbelievable. It's kind of funny when they announced the lineup. Frelick wasn't in there, Trang wasn't in there, Yelich wasn't in there. My son and I looked at each other and were like, you know what? They're probably still going to win this. Priester gave up 5 runs. We're down 5-0. You could just see the team was not deflated. They were not giving up. A lot of times in major league games, if it's 5-0, good luck coming back. But they clawed their way back. When they tied it, my son and I looked at each other and we're like, we're going to win it in the bottom of the ninth. And sure enough, Collins steps up first at bat and puts it out of the park, and the crowd just erupted. It was so electric.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Brian, thanks for the phone call, man. It was great catching up with you. Appreciate it, bud.
You bet. Take care.
You got it. There you go. So some good stuff.
I want to go down to a game.
I'm glad we had.
I don't know that I can pull it off, but I want to.
So it's one thing to hear, Pat Murphy talk about the environment and the players talk about the environment. And I'll admit it. Like when I heard, I'm like, okay, cool. But how much do I actually believe that? Because there's been some great moments, right?
Yeah.
2011.
Yeah.
2018. There's been some really good ones.
1982.
Well,
but there've been a lot where the magic you knew.
Well, even like last year, for crying out loud.
As we were just discussing, let's remember 2024 was a pretty special year.
For Pat Murphy to say that is like, okay, get it, manager. But to have somebody who was just there echo those statements and say, I've never experienced, it kind of gives you a little bit of goosebump feeling, a little bit like, okay, there's even like last night, I was watching the game and they panned to the crowd. I get it. Paul Skeens was on the mound, but this is also a Tuesday night. There were fans stacked in the upper decks, for crying out loud, at American Family Field. How many times have we seen Tuesday night games where there's plenty of great seats still available?
Yes.
And they're packing it. they're packing that stadium right now. I mean, that's first of all, it's a credit to the fans, and I think we had a texter earlier on too. For the fans with all the flooding going down and still showing up at the ballpark to get there safely,
Right.
not just trying to get there and but to be able to get there and still do that to show that support. I'm excited to go next week. I'm a little nervous to go next week too, because it's like I'm bringing my 8-year-old who's not, pretty darn shy, and it's going to be it's the Euchre celebration game too. So it's going to even be huge. But I'm anxious and I'm excited to experience it myself, to see that type of environment.
Yeah. At the rate this season's going, and not to get us all collectively way too high in this team, the caution that I was mentioning a little earlier, but more caution in terms of it'll be okay caution, no matter what happens. But you got to experience it if you can, and you have the opportunity. Like, I'm looking at the schedule, and I don't think it's going to work for me this year. I know I'm not a diehard Brewers fan. For me, it's more like I know enough about the team, follow them, I like them, I kind of want to, and it's the drive down, et cetera. I don't think it's going to work. It's okay. But if you can, and you're going, go. And I know you've got the understandable reservations. Go. It's still cool. Sure, you still don't want to get tickets to the Shaq concert game?
What day is that again?
Thursday, September 18th against the Angels. Post-game concert, DJ Diesel, a.k.a. Shaq.
God, 90s Dan would be about that.
Shaq Fu.
I might have to dig up. I know I have that CD somewhere. Shaq Fu, The Return.
I remember listening to that on like Spotify one time just for fun. I was like, I think I was like cleaning the bedroom or something. Like, sure, let's listen.
Yeah, I'm cleaning the bedroom, so I'm going to listen to Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu, yeah.
Gosh.
I know, it is probably about 15, 20 minutes worth of music there that I'll never get back.
All right, so you're a music guy here really quick. If Shaq was Shaq now, so instead of like the 90s, let's put him into and his music career. Does his music career actually take off a little bit more? Because part of me is thinking of the Balls. Was it LaMelo Ball? Whoever's got the music one. Lavarington. I don't know. I lose track of all of them.
What's his name? Was it Jello? Yeah.
Yeah. But that awful song that apparently people like.
Yes.
So let's put Shaq in. Does Shaq actually work?
Yes. Because the
Shaq
idea
was ahead of his time.
He was. I mean, the idea of the crossover makes more sense now. I think in one regard, younger folks are a little more well-rounded, I guess, because they see more opportunities in entertainment, but that also ties directly into it being a lot easier to do that sort of stuff now. Like, you don't need to get signed to a record label to really got a shot. You can make beats on your own. You can rap on your own. You may suck, but you can do it. You can put it out there, put it up on SoundCloud or something. So take 1993 Shaquille O'Neal and put him in 2025, and it goes viral. It probably would have whatever you call viral nowadays, like all over TikTok. It probably gets plenty of flack, but it probably ends up going to like maybe top 15 on Spotify, Daily USA songs or something like that. It's different now. I mean, think of some of the historic examples of athletes trying to do like music careers. You could think of all the classic, oh my gosh, ones from over time, like Carl Lewis. If you've not seen Carl Lewis and doing like that workout kind of thing, oh boy, fun times there. Terry Bradshaw doing his country music career. People would laugh at that. Not that it was bad, but that it was like, really? Come on. I don't think that happens today.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break, then we'll do stock reports, just kind of resets and such. But I want to throw this out here, too. A quick reminder, speaking of our good friends, VFW Post 305, another event's coming up on Saturday, September 6th, from our friends, the Card Collecting Club. It's the third annual Sports Cards Kickoff for Kids, coming up Saturday, September 6th. 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. again at the VFW Post 305. Free event for the kiddos. Took Hudson there last year. It is really awesome. So if you have a kiddo who is really into card collecting, check out this event. Again, put it on your calendars. Saturday, September 6th, the third annual Sports Card Kickoff for Kids. All right. Quick break. Last call for any stock reports. Stock risers, stock fallers. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Hy-Vee in Eau Claire makes grocery shopping simple. You'll find fresh produce, quality meats, a full-service deli, and bakery with something for everyone. There's a wide selection of everyday essentials and plenty of ready-to-eat options when you're short on time. And if you're planning a special meal or just want to unwind, their wine and spirits department has a great variety from local craft beers to fine wines and top-shelf liquors. It's everything you need in one stop, whether you're planning a big meal or just picking up a few things. See the difference today by shopping at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. All right, it's time for a little stock risers and fallers. We'll start with risers. Make it simple. Should we just co-sign it and say Brewers?
Yep.
Okay.
I was struggling. I'm like, screw it. It's the Brewers.
Let's not overthink this
No.
one.
Yeah, that's it.
Kiss it. Keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can get what?
Yeah. Keep it simple, so stupid.
Brewers.
So, yeah, easy Brewers. All right, stock faller.
Also, a surprisingly difficult one right now. So I'm trying to avoid too much preseason stuff. I mean, you could find those if you look like with anyone, but you don't want to do the Shedeur Sanders. Stop, people. I'm actually, though, going to do an NFL one, but for a slightly different reason. I'm maybe pleasantly surprised this has not become a bigger deal. Travis Kelce for saying that he didn't perform as well because of other obligations. So that was like the fear of, you're doing all of that. How are you going to perform as an NFL player? That's, again, job number one. And he admitted that that's not been the case.
Focus on football.
Yeah. See, maybe they could have won the Super Bowl last year if he hadn't. Well, no, probably
Break
not.
up with Taylor Swift.
Side note, have you seen all the promos dropping in the last hour for tonight's podcast?
Yeah.
Got it imprinted in your eyes that
Am I
Jason
listening?
Kelce hype man?
Am I listening? No.
As a music person, I'm very interested just to know what's the single going to be that we're going to have to play on the radio for the next 8 months. Might be okay. But okay, there's a distraction going on there. And look, you can do whatever you want to as a person. If whatever, we get that. From an NFL, from just a sports point of view, that kind of confirmed, he said it. It confirmed what a lot of people were wondering about. Okay, is that a problem? Now, if he gets back on track and Kelce has an all-pro year, maybe a first-team all-pro year, probably. I mean, he's getting pretty up there in age, too. Let's remember that. Then maybe that all goes away. But it just says Travis Kelce, NFL tight end. I'll put it that way. Stock faller.
My stock faller. I'm going to make some enemies on this one, but I don't give a rip at this point. Every single Packers fan overreacting to a preseason game. I get it. I was there, okay? The game was boring. It sucked. It was frustrating. I understand it, okay? I was there. And even my 8-year-old's like, this sucks. At the game, it's like, it's boring. It's
and
like,
how much was the average ticket to get in?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you had other access. Well, trust us, it's a good amount.
Yeah.
To see a preseason, a game that does not count.
And the thing is, yes, the starters played. Jordan Love played. We got to see Jordan Love play. So hey, that doesn't happen hardly. So the game sucked. A lot of players sucked. It was like laundry day with all the flags. I understand that. I get it. But the amount of people say, oh, typical Matt LaFleur undisciplined team and, just railing all that. Stop. We're not even in September yet. Okay. We're not in September. I get it. You're frustrated. It gave you flashbacks of probably years past, the last few years. I understand that. Take a chill pill and watch some more baseball then. Okay. Take a chill pill, watch a little bit more of the Brewers you don't need to be having the aneurysms right now and the throwing the cottage cheese on the wall like Dan did 15 years ago and such. We don't need to be doing that in the beginning of August after a preseason game. Okay.
Unless you're scouting the depth chart, don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Literally take some time off. Do your fantasy draft if that's your thing. Maybe read some team previews, get educated on the season. And like you said, there's other exciting sports out there. Follow that. I mean, unless you're only a football person, okay, fair enough. Do that. Don't sweat that stuff.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
And I'm going to call out, I don't know who this person was, fan during the game. But, I've had my issues with fans at games. Like
the old reading the newspaper thing?
Yeah.
The wave?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Funny. They were doing a wave when the offense was on, and they tried on the big board. By the way, preseason for the big board operators, there was issues. I don't know if there was technical issues with one of them, but they tried to do the virtual measurement. And 3-4 minutes, and it froze on the big board. Finally, the official just had to announce it. there was issues all across that. So,
This is why it's preseason. It
Yep.
doesn't count. We
Yep.
work this stuff out so it doesn't happen in the regular season. Okay, fine. Yeah.
but intros, okay?
Mhm.
Anybody who's been to a Packer game, Bill Jart's the GOAT. It's always the same. Now introducing this point, the New York Jets. New York Jets come out, okay?
Yeah.
What do fans do when the opposing team comes out?
Boo.
Thank you. One fan who was 3 feet from me, to my left, said, "Why are we booing? We don't do this in Green Bay, people.
Mm.
It's preseason." I'm like, "Oh no! What do you want? What?
I mean, we're not going to cheer them coming on.
right? Are we just golf clap it then, or we just sit on our hands and not
I think it'd be
do
funny if they
anything?
did-
I mean,
I think it'd be funny if they did something totally different. Like if collectively an entire stadium or arena like all turned their backs for 15 seconds and were totally silent. When it was
Yeah.
just something creative like that.
but the way she said this is Green Bay. We don't boo. Is this your first game?
Could you? That's always tough to tell. Some people you think have never been to a game or like lifers season
Yeah.
ticket people, and then vice versa. Did you get a read on them?
I did not, but I would assume it wasn't. If you're going to drop the phrase, "This is Green Bay, we don't boo," like it kind of comes off like you've been there before. But I
Kinda
don't think
does.
But I don't think you have. If you have never heard, it's kind of just a foregone conclusion. You boo the opposing team.
Did she?
I don't care if it's preseason.
Were there people loudly booing right nearby you?
No.
Okay, because
I mean, but you could hear it. It was
Right.
it was the casual boo.
yeah.
You
And that's
know?
the thing. Like, it's not a hard one. It's like, ooh, it's like a half-hearted boo.
Right.
Yeah. Because like, are you a booer?
No.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm one like, well, okay, you get loud when your team's on defense.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I'm not a
I don't
booer.
know that I've ever booed at a game. It's not because it's just I don't do that
Yeah.
particular thing. But yeah, the intro boos are, unless it's I mean, I'm guessing the Bears, Vikings, Cowboys probably get
Mhm.
loud ones.
Lions probably too. But
Yeah,
if-
now
if-
they
if
would.
Lions
But
fans
if it's
don't
like the
overtake Lambeau.
Dolphins, like it's going to be like, oh, boo.
Yeah, it was a
okay, yeah.
casual one like that. I'm
Like,
like,
okay,
but
sure.
the audacity to say this is Green Bay, we don't do bull. I won't.
Yeah, look, Green Bay is well regarded as probably the nicest NFL city. I think that's safe to say based on what everyone says.
Mhm.
So, okay, I get the sentiment, and I'm sure there's probably a fair number who think it's a little tacky to do.
Yeah.
I understand that. I mean, like again, I'm not a booer. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I still remember. You want to see odd things? Older folks probably remember this. I'm not quite old enough to remember, but I've seen this. But look at fields, NFL fields, especially in like say the 70s or so. You had like the opposite team stenciled on the field during like
Yeah.
even regular season. Like, I guess there was more neutrality of like, oh, let's just set this up. Not like this is our house. I don't like the this is our house mentality. I think it's gone too far. It's good to have.
Mhm.
I think it's gone to an extreme, and maybe we've pulled back a little from it. So I get that, but if it's then don't boo. Like the fewer people that boo, then it's just not going to happen.
I just
yeah.
the
It's
hill
odd.
that they climbed on and just got so upset about people. I'm like, do you know where you're at?
I would be more worked up over the wave.
So they did the wave on offense.
That's bad.
What happened?
Interception, fumble.
That was the fumble for a touchdown. That's what you get. And they tried
Karma.
to like they put. I think it was the whole. I think that was when Elton Jenkins, the pre-recorded saying, "Shh," sort of thing. Malik Willis got sacked, fumble, touchdown. I even went on Twitter and said, "That's what you get for doing the wave on offense."
If
Now I get that game sucked, so you're probably trying to do something.
Okay, good point.
But this is also too. So going back to, it's preseason for everybody else, not just the players.
Mhm.
Probably don't work on, because they got the decibel reader. Like, hey, let's get loud.
Yeah.
And they did it at some very awkward times. One, they did it when Zane Anderson was on the field injured.
Mhm.
They brought up the decibel reader on the big board. So then what happens? It's like a big shiny light for people. Like, oh, we got to start getting loud while you have an injured Packer player on the field.
Like, guys, that's not what he does.
So I'm like, yep, it's preseason.
Work it out the kinks. Okay.
More ways than one, not just players.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But
If I were on the team. How many times have you thought of something that you totally would do if you were on the Packers, like one of those like PR sorts of things, and then you stop and go, okay, then all the other things I would have to do to be an NFL player, so that would never be realistic. But if I were doing one of those like video things, I think my thing would be like, all right, don't do the wave. That would just be me doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And if one player actually did do that, I'm sure their PR folks would say, please don't tell people not to do the wave. We get it. We agree. Just don't do that.
I think they just need to record a player instead of saying shh or offense at work sort of thing. Literally just have the player look into the camera and say, sit down and don't do the wave.
I know. That would work. That would probably single-handedly kill the wave because that would come out. People were like, oh.
Yeah. You right there. Sit down and don't do the wave.
Yeah. Who's
don't?
Who is? I know we don't know.
It's like the old. I don't know if you ever had this. I remember in elementary school when we'd have gym class, and once in a while we had to watch a movie in gym class. Okay, but they would wheel out this big old tube set TV.
Yes,
on wheels.
massive
Not
one.
the cart one. We're talking the big, massive one where it was like on the ground and wheels.
You got that? Whoa!
But it was Arnold Schwarzenegger's workout video for kids where we had to do like sit-ups and push-ups. And I still remember this video where, you know, you're doing it, but then Arnold's eyes would pop up in the corner and say, I see you not doing those push-ups. And then they'd pop up somewhere else. Come on. More intensity or something like that. Like these weird eyeballs of Arnold coming up through, like making sure he was watching you not do your sit-ups or push-ups.
Oh,
it kind of almost has to be that vibe a little bit. You know, Jordan Love's got to go up there and say, guys, I'm trying to work.
Was this the Fitness Express?
Probably. I don't know.
Because I found one from 1992.
That would be
with the presidential fitness. That's been back in the news of late. Yeah. The presidential fitness test.
Sit and reach is the worst.
Yeah, I did not like that.
I have the hamstrings of a tree. They don't bend. They're not flexible.
I'm showing you. Does that look at all familiar? Arnold Schwarzenegger in a yellow shirt.
It does. Keep watching though and see if like his eyes kind of like pop up.
And they're doing they're repeating the video clips over and over.
But I just remember like the eyes like popping up in a corner and like saying, I'm watching you.
I'm going to have to watch through this. This is incredible. Something like that. The Heart and Lung Station. Okay. Oh gosh, this is incredible. Early 90s era film techniques. This is wonderful. Something like that.
Yeah.
Who is the scariest Green Bay Packer right now? The guy that could do one of those video things and like single-handedly scare people. Like, oh.
You would think it'd have to be somebody defensively.
I know, like I can't really think of like the scary guy.
Edgerrin Cooper's way too nice. He's a linebacker, but personally, if you kind of follow, he's way too nice. You don't really have a hard-hitting defensive back either. Maybe Nate Hobbs. We don't know a whole lot about him, but just he brings the physicality apparently because he's taking out his teammates. I mean, the easy one, if you go back a few years, could be like Mike Daniels.
Yeah,
that would be one on there. I'd have to think about that one for a hot minute.
Yeah. Scariest Packer who could actually do that.
Yep. So, but yeah, presidential fitness testing. Yeah. So
I vaguely remember
Hudson's gonna have to go through that like his dad had to.
Oh yeah, it's back now. Like, okay.
Seriously, sit and reach was the worst. I hated sit and reach whenever it was time to do those. I hated. And then, you know, you had to have somebody hold down your knees, and it made it worse. I get it. You have to, so you can't bend your knees, but it felt like your knee sockets were going to go the other way. I hated sit and reach. Hated it. Oh, my God. Give me the sit-ups and the pull-ups, but not sit and reach. I remember one time I had to go in for a physical to play sports because you have to do it every 2 years and that.
Right.
And the doctor or trainer, whatever he was, you know, you go through the test. He's like, yeah, your hamstrings are like trees, meaning they don't bend.
Wow.
And told me like I had to stretch and all that. And I'm like, I hate stretching.
Anything involving stretching, just I'm not good with reaching down to stretch and get your toes?
I can't do that.
I can't either. Like I get a
No.
certain part, like I've just never been able to do that.
Can't do that. But I hated that. So
I can't remember, is jumping rope part of the presidential fitness
I don't
test?
think so. But do you remember the whole jump rope phase where like you had to do like we had to dedicate a whole afternoon in elementary school where you were in teams and you just jump roped, but you got a free jump rope.
I'm not sure if we got
Jump
a free
across
one,
America or something maybe like that.
yeah, something like that. Because I broke out my jump rope early. Did I talk about that earlier this year? I broke out my jump rope.
Hudson got one.
Yeah.
Too,
Yeah, because my daughter found it in this box of
Mhm.
old basketballs and other things, and she found the jump rope, and so I started jumping rope. I don't think I've jumped rope maybe 35 years. Came right back to me.
Mm.
I'm like bam, 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 bam. Not that I'm like an ace jump roper, but I'm
Or it's that hard.
it's not that, like, if you get in a rhythm, you're fine. If you're not, that's the thing. Like when you start doing the and you're like falling over yourself. I may have found the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing, but
Okay.
we'll wait till the break so I can play some of this because some of this involves audio. Because there's then a second part where everyone's wearing like early 90s spandex. Looks
Yeah.
like an MC Hammer video.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in, like, no bouncing.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Show it to me.
Let's see here. Where?
Yeah, no bouncing.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
I hate when 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Oh, come on.
Bouncing. I hate when you bounce.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I hate when you bounce.
I hate
Yeah.
when you bounce. And like they zoom in on him all of a sudden, like they're
Mhm.
showing people, and oh, here we go. Here come the eyes. Here come the eyes. No one can see this because we're on the radio.
Told you. Yep.
Yep. And just like out of the corner, suddenly this rectangle appears of Arnold Schwarzenegger's eyes, and then they disappear.
Mhm.
This
Told
is
ya.
incredible. All right. Well, you can relive your elementary school days on YouTube.
Well,
Thanks
the
to
90s are a thing now, so maybe
Uh-huh.
that's what they got to do to bring it back at Lambeau Field.
There you go, folks. The Fitness Express. Be like elementary school Dan and watch that.
Mhm.
Good times,
Yep.
folks. No bouncing.
So shuttle. Oh, I hated the shuttle run too because I never had the best shoes.
Shuttle run. Yeah, I remember that vaguely.
Always was sliding. I don't know if it was the gym floors. It was probably my shoes, but I always remember slide because I always thought I would be really good at the shuttle run, but then I would just like slide instead of like I needed one of those basketball, things where you wipe your shoes off and that. So, remember that's the V sit. I did the V sit too. Oh my god, this is bringing back some nightmares right now. Holy moly!
Awesome. Trying to see, what was it? Do they have like a list of it from
For
like
the,
1989? Like I want to see, what was it? Back then, I'm not seeing the rundown of what all was in it.
Shuttle run, V sit and reach, or V sit and reach test, the mile run, pull ups, sit ups, push ups, standing broad jump. I don't remember doing a standing broad jump. No, I do know. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah,
It's vaguely familiar.
I'd
So,
rather
yeah.
do the mile run than the sit and reach.
I hated the mile run, but that's because I was always dead last.
I
in
was
my
pretty
class.
solid at it. I was pretty solid. Not the fastest, but I was not the slowest.
The
I was
irony
probably top
is-
10.
Yeah, the irony is, I feel like, and I'm not a runner, I'm not a jogger, so for all I know, maybe if I actually tried to like do like
Mhm.
even a quarter marathon or something, I might be terrible. So I don't want to make myself sound great. I think I could actually do today. I could probably do quite well at like the mile run.
I wonder if we should do an adult version of the presidential fitness test.
That would be kind of fun, actually.
I'd really
like-
embarrass myself.
Like
but-
you, me, Brandon, Bosold, Justice, obviously C-Bomb. Duh. Ooh.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't need to kill myself. for
Well, that's
anything,
also
so-
that.
All right.
The thing is, how many ACLs are torn and Achilles?
Yeah, probably the Achilles now. That's the main thing. Don't be like Mariano Rivera playing center field at the Old Timers Day and tearing your Achilles.
I
So
think everyone gets an Achilles tear nowadays.
it's a cool thing to do. It's like peeing your pants.
Yay!
So, all right, we'll take a quick break and wrap it up with some game picks coming up here after these quick words. When pain or injury slows you down, the team at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here to help you get moving again. From sprains and fractures to joint replacements and sports injuries, they offer advanced care tailored to your needs. Their experienced doctors and therapists work with you every step of the way, from diagnosis to recovery, so you can get back to doing what you love to do. Convenient, compassionate, and focused on results, they're the experts in keeping you active. Visit cvosm.com to get started today. Looks like we got a first-time texter chime in. Says, avid listener, just stopped by AEJM Automotive to schedule an appointment for some car repair. I just got to let you know. Probably has the best popcorn I've ever had in my life, and it's free. So there you go. Get free popcorn, get an oil change.
Even better.
At AEJM Automotive. Thanks for sharing that. Looks like first-time texter, too. So, all right, let's do some picks. It's Wednesday. It's making a turn here for some games. It's getaway days for some of these baseball teams. Pirates probably want to get out of Dodge here, especially Paul Skeens. If he's probably like, if I never have to face the Brewers again, I will be happy.
Gonna be tough to do.
Yes. So he's like, I want to demand a trade to where I'll never play the Brewers again. So let's start off with the Tigers taking on the White Sox.
I will go with the I'll go with the Tigers.
Yeah, Tigers. Nationals, Royals.
Seth Lugo re-signed to Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City as well. Rockies versus the Cardinals.
I'll go Cards.
Cards. Diamondbacks, Rangers.
Rangers.
Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. I'll go Rangers still. Padres, Giants.
I'll go with the Padres.
I don't know why. I'm going to go Giants today. Phillies, Reds. Sanchez and Hunter
It's a
Green.
good matchup. I'll go Phils.
I'm going to go Phillies too. Mariners versus Baltimore.
Seattle.
I'm going to go with the Mariners, Marlins, and the Guardians.
A couple midseason hot teams. I'll take Cleveland.
I'm going to go Cleveland too. So, Twins, Yankees. Joe Ryan.
I know it's just New York. Just, ugh. But I'd say the Twins get this one.
I'm going to go Twins too. Let's go Cubs, Blue Jays.
Let's go with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I'll go Blue Jays too. Braves, Mets.
New York.
Yeah, I'm going to go Mets. Let's go Boston and Houston.
Houston.
Tampa Bay, and the Athletics.
Let's go Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Drew Rasmussen. I'll go Tampa Bay. And then finally, the Brewers with Brandon Woodruff.
Skipping the Dodgers and Angels, the Ohtani Bowl.
Oh, yeah, I did.
With Ohtani
getting a start and Kyle Hendricks getting a start for the Angels.
I'll take the
Dodgers. Yes. Let's go with then Pittsburgh and Milwaukee.
George Webb hamburgers for everybody. It's happening.
Sure seems like it's going to.
Yeah.
I like the pitching matchup. So I'm gonna go Brewers too. I'm gonna go with the Brewers here. Boy.
Can they ship hamburgers up here to the Chippewa Valley?
I doubt it. You know what? With all the stuff that's going on with Milwaukee too, with the flooding, they all deserve some free burgers with
Why
it
not?
too. Come on now, George Webb.
When the season's over, regardless of what happens, they should have like a celebration day for this. And I know it's a very rare thing to happen. That's part of it. It's the scarcity makes it appealing. But the way this year is going, yeah, maybe they should.
Yeah. So 12. I don't know. Hopefully that it will be 12 wins in a row here for the Crew. Boy. Unreal. Going back to when we had that caller at the top talking about, Craig Counsell and kind of uptight at times. Cubs are struggling right now. Pete Crow Armstrong's struggling. Kyle Tucker's struggling a little bit. Is there a little uptightiness going on in the clubs where Pat Murphy keeps things loosey-goosey a little bit more?
Maybe so.
Yeah. Even like I was watching again Sunday Night Baseball and some of the interviews, the in-game interview that Counsell was doing, I'm like, oh, he seemed a little perturbed, a little annoyed.
The team's not performing that well right now. So, understandably so. By
the way, I would like to call out the Cubs fans who personally told me it was the Brewers team waiting for the August to September collapse. I'm looking at my imaginary watch right now, and I'm like, who's the collapse right now?
Yeah, it's August 13th.
Silence.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
And
Josh, waiting for them too.
So remind me of the schedule. Are there any more Cubs games after this 5 stretch?
Nope, this is the last one.
Okay.
Between Brewers and Cubs, yeah.
Feel a lot better about that once that stretch is done. Cause say there's this odd 5-game sweep. That would okay, fair enough, but right now, it's not looking pretty good.
I don't know the pitching schedules for this because remember, there's a doubleheader in this thing. You got Woodruff tonight, then an off day. I'm curious to see kind of like how they approach the Cincy series and who gets slated. Like, will we see Miz come back? I guess.
Yeah, because I saw Adam McCalvey just reposted from Hunter Baumgart a question, like literally from minutes ago about that. Like it says, Brewers announced some of their starters for this weekend. Friday's TBA. Murph said yesterday that Mizrowski pitching in Cincinnati on Friday is a in a shorter outing is a possibility.
Okay.
Then Priester and then Quintana.
Okay. So
for whatever that's worth.
Peralta is going to be going up against the Cubs. Woodruff's going to be going up against the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
We know those are two for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all right.
Okay, so Quintana against the Cubs would be kind of fun in the sense of what he's done against the Brewers. On the other hand, I don't know that I want him to.
Yeah, you almost want your power arms, I feel like, at that point, but
rather no, you can skip that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want vibes to counter that.
One game at a time, though. We got to take this, and that's exactly what the Brewers have done with this stretch.
Since he's been a hotter team of late, so like, okay, I understand Pittsburgh was pretty easy. The Mets were, I don't want to say easy pickings, but they weren't in a good spot. You're going to play some. I mean, the Cubs aren't in a good spot right now, but the Reds are. Blue Jays very much are. You've got some challenging teams coming up here. So yes, this is going to be a good stretch here. And the danger, of course, of the Cubs is if they end up doing really well in that series, that tightens up the division real fast.
Yep. No question about it. So, Packers going to be traveling to the Colts. They got some joint practices tomorrow and such, and then we've got the preseason game this weekend. Again, reminder, no Jordan Love, but sounds like Jordan Love might actually be back at practice next week, possibly, after undergoing thumb surgery on his non-throwing hand yesterday. No concerns about his availability for week 1 against Detroit. So, positive news there. Little business of sports here because we still got about 10 minutes left here. Do you think the whole John Gruden thing, it's a win for John Gruden?
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's some like, ooh, whoa, dirty laundry. I feel like we're going to see a Roger Goodell signing a big check to John Gruden. And we're not going to really get the whole discovery sort of thing.
Yeah, probably. Let's be real here.
I know there's some like, ooh, yeah, we're going to find out some cool.
It doesn't happen with the NFL usually.
No.
Doesn't happen with a lot of folks in any big league anyway. I don't know that Gruden wants to destroy the NFL.
He loves football too much.
I know, like, and that's the main route. Like, unless he wants to be a UFL lifer going forward.
Yeah. I know there was that hot minute last year talking about him in college, but
no, I don't think he wants that. I think he wants some acknowledgement that he got screwed and some restitution, and then he can go forward from that. I think
honestly, mostly he just almost wants to clear everything so that he could be a viable candidate to coach again, where that's not hanging over,
or find some way to be back involved in prominence where he's not. I mean,
what do you mean, Barstool? Is it?
By something where, like, I don't think we're gonna have him back on like Monday
Night Football. Yeah.
I mean, obviously not that, but we're not gonna have him on some. I mean, I suppose he could be on a streamer at some point down the road. Could he do like a Netflix game or just something else? Does Apple TV Plus at some point get involved and he does something like that?
So yeah, say there's a new streamer like, hey, we're gonna actually have an NFL game, and to really pipe it up, do they bring in Gruden? That'll draw attention, right?
Yes, it would.
I thought he was good on Monday Night Football.
I mean,
wasn't the best, but I thought he was solid.
Easily mockable, but that doesn't mean he was bad. He had a characteristic about him.
Did it help that he was with Tirico?
Yes,
who is one of the better play-by-play people in all of sports right now.
Yeah.
So
Spider 2Y Banana.
Gosh, I almost bought a T-shirt too that said Spider 2Y Banana, just because it had the picture of Spider 2Y Banana.
That tells you.
You can't probably tell you what the play is, but you know what it is.
I mean, how many announcers have something where you can say one thing and you immediately know, oh yeah, Gruden, right?
Yeah, or Fired Football Coaches Association, the FFCA.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, it's easy to do with him. and I think he gets back in, and I think there is a settlement ultimately.
Yeah.
Goodell is not going to protect the shield.
Yep.
But part of that, I mean, the real win here for him would be settlement,
Yep.
pay money. You got enough to go around anyway.
Yep.
Then there's no negative news that comes out of it. He probably thinks, well, I mean, it's not really like if John Gruden said literally nothing the rest of his life and totally became a hermit, it wouldn't make a difference at all. But having John Gruden involved with NFL coverage in some way, shape, or form is a net plus.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that out of it. I think that's how this ultimately goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I big win for Gruden, but I don't think there's really going to be.
Yeah. Well, and he might end up with a lot of more money out of it.
Mm-hmm. I haven't been able to read everything yet here, but I did see there were some details around the new Inside the NBA on ESPN are out. Did you read anything about that?
A little bit.
So, doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of fanfare surrounding it.
I mean, we're seeing a lot of these pregame announcer package, blah 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 blah. All that's coming out right now. There's a fire hose of information right now. So it's 30-minute window right now. I mean, I guess it's shorter, so there'll be some people that are gonna be upset about it. But I mean, if it ultimately leads to Scott Van Pelt, that's probably one of your better transitions you could have. It's not like they're following it up with a Stephen A. Smith recap or something like that.
Yeah.
So there'll still be an adjustment. They'll be complaining, and then we'll do this all over a year from now. It'll just keep going. I think they're in a good spot either way between Inside the NBA and Van Pelt. Those are two good ways to follow up games. I know it's easy because I know Barkley had we're just going to say we're going to go to Sports Center. Yeah, but it's Scott Van Pelt. This is not like modern day. I don't want to say faceless Sports Center anchor, but they're not to the level of Keith and Dan, the legends of that. Fine,
Rich and Stewart,
right? Yeah. It's not that. I get it. The Sports Center anchors are good, but it's not like we're going to that and then immediately jumping to hot take world and oh great, here comes Kendrick Perkins to say wildly uninformed stuff. Not that the Inside the NBA people are immune from wildly uninformed stuff. Let's be real here. But
it's funny you say that because I don't watch Sports Center a lot anymore. Okay, I don't. I think it's just because information overload.
Yeah,
I can only take so much.
Yeah,
but was it? Oh, okay. So I had it on the background because I was working. I had next day off and that, but I was still doing some stuff. So I had it on the background, and ESPN came up after Sunday Night Baseball, and it was So first highlight, I think it might have been their 50 for 50 or something like that, or yeah. Oh no, it was the golf and who choked down in the end again over the weekend. Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah,
Tommy Fleetwood. Yeah. So they let off with that, but then the second one was Brewers Mets. So they played the highlights, but then it transitioned into not how well the Brewers are doing, how bad the Mets are doing. That was the graphic.
New York.
Yep. How bad the Mets are doing. I'm like, okay, typical, whatever. But the fact that you just mentioned the misinformation or whatever,
yeah,
they had Herm Edwards on a little bit later on talking about, hey, week 1 of the preseason's in the books, okay, and doing that, and what do you want to see in week 2? And Herm's like, veteran quarterbacks. I want to see Aaron Rodgers, playing. I want to see Russell Wilson, getting some playing time in that. And the anchor who's been around for a long time, I think his name's David.
Sounds kind of
blonde hair kind of guy. I think he tried to save Herm because they had the graphic of Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, like the veterans got to play. They got to get some playing time in, blah, blah, blah. Dave's like, just the casual. Russell Wilson did get to play in week 1. He was 6 or 7, but they were check down opportunities and kind of spun it like, yeah, he's got to play more.
Yeah,
he's got to play more. And, I'm like, ugh.
I always love being the host of something like, how do we do this without wildly embarrassing the person that's on here?
Did he actually watch the preseason game?
No, probably not. That's the thing with its opinion stuff. they're probably not going to be the biggest up on the facts.
Mm-hmm.
We have that happen too. Like we're like, do we remember that the right way? But this on a much bigger scale.
Mhm.
And you got to be careful about that, or have the sort of personality where you'll be forgiven for the most part. I
Mhm.
mean, even the quote unquote most liked ones, your Van Pelts that have the highest Q ratings, people rip on them too.
Mm-hmm.
He had an anecdote on his latest podcast where he talked about how he doesn't have coleslaw. Like he retweeted something from Ryan Clark about not having coleslaw on his sandwich in Pittsburgh. And the Pittsburgh people were like, you hate Pittsburgh. No, he doesn't like coleslaw. It's not an anti-Pittsburgh thing, but people got mad about.
Well, it's the same thing when Aaron Rodgers says he doesn't do dairy when he was the quarterback for the Packers.
Right. Okay, so he doesn't do dairy.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Okay.
hate Wisconsin.
Right.
No,
It's
come
like,
on,
okay,
people.
no,
But
come
we
on.
want to find things. Even Aaron Rodgers. But when
There's
he was
plenty
more like,
of other things to not like Aaron Rodgers.
right, and that was back when he was far more likable.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a neutral assessment. He was more likable back then. But still, we don't want to have stupider takes. But I
Yeah.
guess if they're hot takes, that's the thing. They're hot,
Mhm.
and people will talk about them more. So in the case of Inside the NBA, regardless of what Barkley and Shaq says, and Shaq talking about how he doesn't watch certain teams that are really successful, the 30-minute window, they note in like the awful announcing story, they make a point of saying, this is not locked in for the season. It's to start the season. I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to start slow. Let's figure all of this out. And if it turns out to be really popular, they also will have the numbers. ESPN, we've talked before about how they can monitor stuff minute by minute. They'll know.
Mm-hmm.
If they see a big tail off when it goes to SportsCenter, even if it's Van Pelt, they'll find a way to make it work that there's more inside the NBA. They're not stupid.
Right.
They made some questionable programming choices over the years, but they're not that stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. 30 seconds left. Again, reminder, first pitch 1:10, Brewers, Pirates, Woodruff on the mound for the Crew as they try to go for 12 wins in a row and another series sweep. Coverage will begin at about 12:35 on your radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. So make sure you check that out later today. Get a radio in your office. Okay. Reminder, it's not stream. It's not because of us. Can't pull it up on your computer and listen. It's MLB policy.
And then drive fast down Fort George Webburger.
Yes, definitely. So have a good rest of your day. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., same place, same time. Chat with you all then.